You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
Toss a coin to your grifter, oh bigot of plenty, bigot of plenty. Toss a coin to your grifter, bigot of plenty, oh bigot of plenty. Toss a coin to your grifter, oh bigot of plenty, bigot of plenty. Toss a coin to your grifter, oh bigot of plenty, bigot of plenty.
You're too late, Ravage. The information's already been destroyed.
Look at the world, spinning so blind. He cracked the code, wired the grind. Told you what's next, mapped the design. Late to the game, he's ahead of your time. Eyes wide shut while he saw through the smoke. Y'all laughed it off, but the guy's no joke. Truth hit hard, left the doubters broke. Every call he made is the master stroke. Called it again. Are you listening? He's got the spark, yeah, he's glistening. Future's on lock, man, he's blistering. Told you what's coming, now it's christening. Called it again. Are you missing it? Pinpoint shot, every hit legit. World's in his hand, man, he's twisting it. Bow to the king, he's the infinite. Called it. Yo, rewind the tape. Forecast so clean it escapes the hate. This ain't no luck, this is fate. Create while you hesitate. He dominates.
Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump. 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 Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump.
was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with the comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that
how up for anything
better for the story that
still
we're
a
trying
mystery.
to tell.
Did you ever read you've never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Like,
Oh, yeah. Holy shit.
Jesus.
oh my god.
Sit around thinking the same shit.
I can't breathe. I gotta stop looking at it.
Yo, Snoop Shoot K on the mic. This one for all my time displaced geisha bitches. Yeah. But we back in the day, 16th century, Sengoku era, straight feudal energy, samurai on the rise, Ganyo in the mix. Oda, Tokugawa fixing conflicts quick. Ninja creeping in the shadows, silent and swift. Castles fortified, loyalties to give. Bushido cold, honest in the heart. Blades clashing, battlefields to art. Sengoku times can be wild and crazy sizzle. Samurai life, it's the warlord fizzle. Feudal Japan in the house like a dread sizzle. History in the rhyme, feel the ancient sizzle.
Before we begin, what do you think of my totally accurate samurai attire, right?
Yo, it's time to level up. Get that firepower. We taking it all. Yeah. Boots on the ground. I'm running this race. Brick buster with the knuckles. No time to waste. Through the mushroom fields where the wild things grow. Jumping higher than the clouds. Let the energy flow. Never fold. Never break. Every step I take, I make the ground quake. Big shell creeping. He's the king of the crawl. But I'm built for the heat. I'm taking it all. Keep pushing through the hills, never back, never fall. It's a battle every step, but I'm taking it all. Fire in my soul, yeah, I'm breaking the walls. No matter what it takes, I'm saving it all.
Mama, we must run. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park the van?
Cider took it to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. Velvet skies and sapphire dreams. Cities pulse, electric beams. Lonely hearts in shadowed bars. Fading tales beneath the stars. In twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow, eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
Well, I hope that USAID isn't paying your Wi-Fi bill tonight. Otherwise, you should have hit like already because this broadcast might cut out abruptly for you. We are going to be going through quite a bit of that mess tonight, and RJ McReady kind of covered it right here. He says, I must not let Trump end my government's money laundering operation. And he's the first to say this. Of course, it's a joke. It's a joke. We do have Ravul Arvita here saying, hail all, member of the channel here, by the way. Don't forget to check out that join button down there at the bottom of the screen. See what membership tier is right for you. We also have Leslie Tarkin here saying, hail to all you lovely people. Sakura Mita made some memes for us tonight. We'll be looking at those a little later. One of them we can't show due to copyright reasons. It's not naughty. It's just one of those things where we're trying to play it safe here, just a post-holiday season, because, after Liberation Day, the YouTube got a little censor happy. And here to talk to me about how crazy it's getting is Miss Nerdigans. Welcome aboard.
Up, buddy, black shirt, army. I'm hoping Zeno is going to be good, kitty. He was going nutso before the stream, but hopefully this catnip is going to keep him sane.
Yeah, that's right. That'll quiet him down. Get him stoned. Make him trip balls. That'll help.
No, catnip actually calms him down and he falls asleep.
Well, I would hope so. We have Henry Thron. He's joining us from the road on his way to the YMCA. Not the song, but rather the Young Men's Christian Association, where you can do YMCA things. I'm not really sure what goes on there these days. And we have Ray. I'm sorry. I'm just going to shorten that to Ray. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be an H noise or a bunch of J's. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, and I don't want to offend you. So I'm going to say Ray. And Ray says, hail freedom, hail family. And I couldn't agree more. Freedom and family are the foundation of why we're all here, after all. And speaking of freedom and family, if you remember the good old days of Toonami, there apparently is going to be a competitor now.
Yeah, back in the days, it wasn't just Toonami. There was also, I think it was on Sci-Fi Network. They had an anime block, and it showed more obscure anime. And it was uncensored anime.
Yep, they had Anna Monday, and that was Anna Monday. That was pretty good because they had Gundam 00 on there, and I understand why it was on there and not on Cartoon Network. They had the Bubblegum Crisis was also on there. And that was where I found the second. I didn't know about the second Bubblegum Crisis. I only know about the first one. I didn't know that they made a second one. So that was pretty cool that I found that. I don't know, like 2016, 2014, somewhere around there. So now this new competitor is what's their deal?
So what their deal is they're gonna have an anime hour, and it's gonna be on Thursdays and then do a repeat on Saturday. The Thursday one is going to be at 10 p.m. and then Saturday at midnight. Now, the first one is going to be for Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. And then on the 20th, it's going to be My Hero Academia. Now, it's weird because Toonami has the rights to My Hero Academia. But according to CN schedules, it starts from season 1, and they don't know if this also means season 7 is out of the question for Toonami or not. Because there's like this whole debacle going on because Sony owns Crunchyroll, and that's where season 7 is. And Cartoon Network is owned by Warner Brothers, or Viacom, excuse me, / Warner Brothers, because their stuff goes on HBO Max. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And then it says here, a tweet from anime.com seems to confirm they only have the rights to the first 2 seasons of My Hero Academia. So, but that means is Toonami could still snag the more recent seasons. So there is potential that they could get season 7, which is the final season. So there is still.
If you ask a lot of people about what they think about My Hero Academia, they kind of tuned out after the second season. So they might have found kind of the golden goose there. We're like, yeah, just run that like they ran Cowboy Bebop for years on end. Remember that? Remember when you couldn't tune into Adult Swim without catching 2 back-to-back episodes of Cowboy Bebop?
go right after.
Mm-hmm. Then Witch Hunter Robin that was repeated. I don't. Gosh, I think like whole generations were born and raised under Witch Hunter Robin.
It was that. It was Inuyasha, and then
Oh,
it was
jeez.
Trigun.
How many episodes did that run? Like 700 episodes of
Yeah,
Inuyasha?
yeah, and
God.
a lot of it was filler too. And
Of
then
course.
there was the final
Oh yeah,
act too, which wasn't
Samurai Clamp.
or
Is it?
Samurai
It's
Shampoo.
Shampoo, right?
It's
Yeah,
Shampoo.
Shampoo.
Samurai
Okay.
Shampoo is still an amazing series. It's
Well,
still holds up.
here's what you can do, Tacitus, is that if you just don't watch it, it's like an excellent lo-fi background soundtrack to whatever you're doing around the house. You know, if you're just chilling out or studying, all that background music is excellent. It's that lo-fi chill hop stuff most of the time. Very cool. Very
But
cool music.
it's
So
crazy. Like
same with
just
Cowboy
thinking,
Bebop, you know?
it's crazy because just thinking about it, like those dubs back in the day were just so good, and it had a lot of soul. And I've been covering the English dub for Dragon Ball Daima on my Patreon, and it's so interesting that because Stephanie Nadolny is there, obviously, and it's like, yes, it's my childhood. And for Glorio, and there was one other one that and Piccolo Mini. It just sounds so off, but like Vegeta Mini sounds great. Like you could picture Vegeta sounding like that in dub. Because it's not Chris Sabat either. It's a different actor, and he sounds fantastic.
Now there were a couple other Toonami clones that showed up. G4 had one.
I think Spike TV had one too.
Yeah, something was it? It was like an adult. It was like a and Comedy Central tried it with like their like the Duckman. Do you remember the Duckman
Yes.
show? Yeah, they
Yes.
tried that with all their like really edgy late '90s cartoons that never went anywhere, except for that independent movie channel where you saw the whitest kids you know.
Yeah.
That's that was also the cool place where you could go see cartoons that you weren't allowed to watch on Adult Swim even. You could go to the independent film channel and they would show you like the really crazy stuff. And well, excuse me, I'm from New England, so like my version of crazy is like what's on the streets of Los Angeles right now that you can just bump into on your way to the grocery store. Okay, that's pretty crazy for me, you know.
That's crazy for just about anybody, to be honest.
All right, I just my level of crazy is different to everybody else. I'm aware of that, you know. Jacob catches me all the time sounding like a space alien. I'm gonna get outed one of these days as a lizard person. You wait, because I don't know your culture. I came from the center of the earth. But this makes me happy because Cartoon Network has been such a mess for the past, I want to say 12 years, at least 10. And I'm so glad that they're going to get competition into this realm because finally somebody sat down and said, we need to have a contender in the realm of the, like, I wouldn't say 8 to 14, but more like 14 to 20, 14 to 25 market of young adult men. And this appears to be directly targeted at them. They're not going to be, and don't get me wrong, they're not going to be showing Pretty Cure right here. They're not showing the slice of life anime. They're going right for the stuff that like they know works for that age demo. I'm surprised Bleach isn't here. I'm just kind of counting down the days. And it's nothing against that. I'm not trying to boo-boo that, but it really seems like they sat down and said, how do we get young guys involved in this? And these are good. Fate is a solid, like Reddit level guy, kind of like, I want to talk about the philosophy of battle kind of thing. It's not a bad thing to be a Reddit level guy philosopher. Believe me, I used to be one of them. So don't worry. But, you know, Fate wants to get you talking about the philosophy of battle, the philosophy of sacrifice. My Hero Academia wants to talk about the philosophy of sacrifice and what it is to be a hero in a world where everyone is a hero. And that's, you know, it's a really good question to ask a young man right now. And I'm really glad that they're sitting down, especially those first 2 seasons. That's when Deku does really a lot of soul searching about what it is to be a young guy and what goals really are to a young man.
Just wait till Vigilantes comes out. Vigilantes
exactly.
Yeah. And Vigilantes is just and I'm not saying this because Furahashi follows me on Twitter and I covered the series from chapter 3 to the end. No, Vigilantes' writing is just on another level. That writing is so good.
Disney got Bleach. Oh no.
Well, not. It's on Hulu for us. But
Oh, it's like Disney Plus, Disney Light. It's not Disney Plus. It's Disney minus. You know, it's just Disney
But like,
Light.
but I'll say this though, from what I've seen, like outside of the Giselle situation, and to be fair, it was only in the global version. It wasn't in the Asian version. I haven't seen any other problems for the most part with Bleach. But yeah,
Yeah.
and also to be fair, this is Viz. Look, this is a great transition too. This was a Viz localization. It's not a Disney localization. It's a Viz localization. Viz localizations are very hit or miss.
Trying to find that one that you sent me.
Yeah, should be the next one after the I'm shadow banned, so it won't show my tweets in like Discord or Slack. It's really stupid. But I can send it to you in the private chat if you need me to.
Yeah, probably. I think I've lost it in the file. I apologize.
Here it goes.
But I just want to get Sakramita's question here. Sakramita asked, "You guys have a Barnes and Noble nearby?"
Yes, I do. I still do.
We have BAM, that's Books a Million, and I have to travel an hour and 10 minutes to get to it. So it's nearby in the sense of like, if I were to be like Link and summon one of those gliders and just fly there, it's pretty close. But otherwise, not so close. We do
So
have bookstores, but they're all like boomer books and they're all like maps and stuffy things and it's whatever. Go collect all the Harry Potter books. Yeah, I'm all set.
But so over the past, I think this was on the 10th. So Gizmodo released an interview. And the article was about like localizers getting harassed, and I rolled my eyes when I saw this article. And something I didn't notice before I get into the Stephen Paul portion of this is that they didn't interview Kodansha localizers. They didn't interview like Kamiki or Katakawa or Square Enix or Seven Seas localizers. It was only Viz localizers. And hell, I was surprised they didn't interview Seven Seas or what was the other one? Or Square Enix localizers. Very surprised. So, like, I took this article with a grain of salt going into reading this. But then I saw this from Stephen Paul, and I was like, oh, this is going to be very interesting. And I know certain people are going to try and use this for their agenda, because Moto tried to pull a stunt too with the Yamato stuffs. They were half asked about it. They were like, yeah, it's inconsistent. And yeah, it's very clear in the story. And I'm like, oh, stop it. You know, that's a load of shit. Because, well, it is inconsistent, but you know, it's a load of shit because Oda already addressed it. They didn't acknowledge it.
Oh, okay. All right.
But what he said here about this is that he said, I got to read the Gizmodo part because it really pissed me off. Because it says in this part what I'm talking about. They say in the manga, Yamato refers to himself, fuck you, Gizmodo, as Kaido's son and uses he and pronouns, where in merchandising, Yamato uses she, her pronouns. No, yes, it's true, but Oda already settled this. Oda settled that Yamato is a woman for one thing. And also, everyone with media literacy, good media literacy and reading comprehension, knows that Yamato is a LARPer. Gizmodo, you are stupid. But anyways.
This is such a simple thing, though. Let's take a minute here and remind everybody at home what's going on, because it kind of goes pretty fast because we all thought this was over with. So this has happened again for, I guess, since Yamato showed up. So it's really been, oh my goodness, probably what, 8 years now Yamato's been around and they've been fighting about this.
Yeah.
Feels like an eternity anyway. So what the problem is that Yamato was abused as a child. This is a female character, and she's quite tall and she's quite strong, as most women in the One Piece universe are, at least the battle-ready women are. And so Yamato, however, has a particular character quirk to her, in that she idolizes a male character who is her father figure, Odin. And Odin is so idolized in her mind due to the abuse that happened to her, she clung on to his masculinity as a way to fight the abuse that was being practiced against her. And this was a child being chained down in a
Well, keep in mind, it was because Odin, she idolized Odin because he stood up to her father, even though he was being boiled alive in tar.
correct. That's what I mean, like father figure, not
Yeah.
like the father. This is a
Yeah.
father figure. And so she idolized his masculinity. And that's what it is that his desire to die for her sake was his ultimate sacrifice.
No,
And
it
this
was
was
it was for his comrade's sake. That's what it was. It wasn't for her sake. It was for his comrade's sake.
well, my apologies. So for again, the lasting impression upon her was that masculinity was the supreme resilience against all violence, against all evil. And so this is where she fell into wanting to be a man like Odin, but a man in the spiritual sense, in that a man has these resilient factors about him that at the time of her abuse, she needed to hold on to. Okay. As an adult woman, you have your resilient factors. You have these resilient things. As a child who's being physically, emotionally, and mentally abused, you do not have them. And so young girls sometimes attach themselves to this. You'll see them become tomboys. They associate with boys because of something tripped them along the way where it was easier to get along with dad than it was for mom. Could have been a good thing that tripped them that way, could have been a bad thing, but it just interrupted a usual flow, not the norm, just a usual flow, like how a river moves. And so what happened to Yamato was abuse happened. So what was a stream became a raging rapid of terror. And so when these people go calling Yamato a he, him, and insisting that this character is trans, they're reinforcing the abuse that was practiced on this person. And the only way she survived it was by transforming her psyche into a man's psyche. That is a terrible fate to find yourself in, no matter what status of woman you are, to have been so abused that you have to sacrifice your femininity to survive. That's terrifying. Not something to be celebrated, but rather respected in a way that we understand how this trauma presents itself, as Oda likes to do in his writing. No character, like this is the unique thing about One Piece we were talking about last week, Nerdigans. One Piece does not solve the character's drama in a single episode.
No.
We're not past the problem because we fought it out and hugged out and cried a little bit. The trauma these characters experience repeats itself over and over and over. Luffy is never going to get over Ace. That is never going to happen. That character's not going to be able to put that behind him. Zoro is not going to be able to get beyond I just had his name. His guy, the pointy beard man.
Oh, Hawk?
Yeah, he's
Are
not
you
going to be
on
able to get
Hawk?
beyond Mihawk. He's not going to be able to get beyond Mihawk. Because again, that was the guy. That was the guy he had to beat when he started the whole thing out. So he's not going to be able to get beyond it. Nami's not going to be able to get beyond the shark man with the pointy thing that started her adventure. That's the thing. Chopper's never going to lose the doctor. No matter how many times he goes around this, he's never going to lose that. And that whole thing is vitally important to how the story is told. And so Yamato being stuck like this is not going to go away. It's not going to be made normal either. This is going to be a constant thing that she battles. I guarantee you Oda's going to put her with a male character soon where she's going to have to make a decision. Is she going to be a woman going forward? Or is she going to continue presenting as insisting she's a man? And that, again, because that's the way he writes. He forces these characters to conflict.
She's Odin. She just says she's Odin. That's all she does. Like, she doesn't even say she's a woman or a man. She just says she's Odin. And that if Odin was a woman, she would just say that she would be a woman. She would be a woman. Like, it doesn't matter the gender. She just wants to be Odin. It's like a kid saying that they want to be Batman.
Or they want to be their dad. Sometimes little girls want to grow up and be like their dad. I've seen that. You know, and that's how it goes. But again, this is misinterpreted by people like Katrina. You know, they go out there and they decide, okay, so A plus B equals fish. And that's just how they proceed with this. I decided this is the outcome before I took any of the factors into account. And so here we are. And that's what we're fighting with this right here, is that it's a tricky situation for Yamato. Blah, blah. It's not tricky.
No,
It's not.
well, it is in terms of translating. It is, and in Steven's defense, but like, here's what he said. He said it's a really tricky situation for Yamato in particular because there's a natural tension there where within the story, Yamato is clearly like, hey, yeah, I'm a man. Yeah, this is, and you see Yamato in the bath with the guys and stuff like that. But here's where I understand a little bit. It's more so because of the Japanese gender pronouns and stuff like that, because it's a little bit different. But this is where I do get frustrated. The first part I do get frustrated with Steven because it's like, dude, come on, you know better than this. I think he was just like going with it to please the Gizmodo person. There's mixed messages, and it's one of those things where I think within the story it's pretty clear, but as the translator, you never know for sure how things might change in the future or how they might shake out. I have to be really careful about the language that I use, which is true, but this is particularly why. Let's see, the version, their version, aka the Japanese version of he and she, which explicitly gendering a person in the third person, they don't have to use that in order to have a natural conversation. It's very easy for authors to write about characters who either have ambiguous genders or are hiding a surprise reveal or something like that without drawing attention to it. That's definitely one of the ever-present difficulties in working on translating, especially for a serialized story where the whole thing isn't written yet and there's still stuff you might not know yet. But like, I understand where Steven is coming from with this. I've talked to numerous Japanese people, speaking people about this, and they've said something similar to this. So I do understand that, but you got to be very careful as
they're
well.
overthinking it is what I just want to explain is they're overthinking it. To make this very simple, let me just show you this. That's the word for tomboy in Japanese. And so all you have to do is just when you write Yamato, just put that little parentheses like we saw in Shonen Jump with tomboy underneath it when you show her in the bath. And everyone goes, oh, yeah, I got a friend like that. She does that all the time. And that's it. Everyone gets it then. Then you don't have to worry about, oh, who's what, where, when. Everybody understands that Yamato hangs out with the boys. Simple.
Well, that's the other thing too, is they do like she is a Bakoku, which is a tomboy. That's what it is. It's Bakoku.
Oh.
The slang.
I'm sorry, I got it from the Dere Types Wikia. Sorry, that's where I got the word.
But like, here's the thing, and this is a problem I have with Viz in general, and this is why I like fan translations a lot more for this reason. They don't utilize their translation notes. They should be doing that a lot more, because if they did do that more, then you wouldn't have people being confused. And the other thing I have about this, when she's taking a bath with the guys, and this is where like the level of reading comprehension and media literacy kind of comes through, is it's extremely sexist when they say that, a woman taking a bath with a guy means that, oh yeah, they must be a guy, they must be trans. No, that doesn't mean that. It just means she feels more comfortable bathing with guys because that's what she's used to being around, is guys all the time.
Like everybody has that friend, right? Everybody's got that lady friend that's like that. That's like, I don't want to be friends with girls. They're too dramatic, right? Everybody knows that gal.
There's butch lesbians that are like this, that would rather like.
There's straight women that are like that.
Yeah, or there are butch women like that. And I'm just like, when these people use that argument, I'm like, dude, do you realize that there are butch women that that don't like bathing with women and that would rather just chill with the guys and just go there? Why are you letting a gendered bath determine someone's gender? That is really retarded.
I love how whatever happened with your reverb, it came through as a gendered fat. Decide what it is, and I love that because I immediately pictured Katrina. I was like, a gendered fat. And I was like, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. That's perfect. I'll have to make a T-shirt of that. Do you want a T-shirt that says a gendered fat and like some Reddit tier character on it, so you could be seen in public wearing that? Explain that to your family. But this is going to keep going, as Nerdigans explained. This is going to keep going because these people are insane. They are insisting on something they don't have to. Like, I forget the word you used for tomboy there just a minute ago.
Okoku.
Right, and that's a very simple classification. Everybody knows what a tomboy is. You know, if you want to use the word butch, great. Tomboy, I think it sounds a little more flattering.
Well,
Not
there are people that consider themselves butch, which
okay.
is more so on the lesbian side of things usually.
Okay, that makes more sense to me because I was like, I don't know too many straight women that like, hi, I'm a butch. It's like,
Well,
I don't know.
Well, to be fair, there's even gay people that say like gay people that will say that they need to butch it up or make themselves a little bit more masculine looking. So it's not just a theme, a term to refer to women as. It's also gay men use it too. So
Leslie Tarkin says they are trying to put everyone into some kind of a box. They don't realize that you can be a straight woman who just likes to hang with guys. Exactly. I mean, I live in Maine. You have to, up here, everybody has to help get ready for winter. If you don't, we're going to freeze to death together, sure, but we're going to freeze to death. So the women are just as like up to their elbows in the mud and bark of trees as the rest of the men are. The women are out in the potato fields with the men. They might not be hauling 2 potato sacks on their shoulders. They've got one of them, but they're doing it. And that's how I live. And men and women do the same things up here. They have to, or else we won't survive. We've got women lobster boat captains. It's everybody's game up here. And that's why it's so bizarre to me that these guys have to say like, no, Yamato likes to say she's a guy, so she's trans. No, she was abused and decided it was easier to be a man than it was to try and rectify the abuse with her feminine identity at the time. And ta-da, here we are. She decided to be a tomboy. That's as simple as that. You saw him at the skate park. You would have saw Yamato at the skate park in the 90s.
It's the same thing with Bridget. These people pick the worst rep. I don't understand why. It's like they don't want to beat the groomer allegations. They want to say, oh, we're not groomers, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, you're picking the worst rep. You're picking the people that are literally by your logic, if they're trans, that they would be groomed into trans people. You're fucking dumb for that. And you're going around cracking eggs and doing it for sport. That's literally grooming. You're freaking stupid.
No, Bowsette points out.
On Tumblr.
Yeah. Remember when this only existed on Tumblr? Yeah, it's
on
a
Reddit
long
too,
time ago.
technically.
Huh. I had like 1 second hiccup there. Huh. Well, that's a sign that YouTube probably got hacked. Sony went down for several hours. YouTube obviously has a little bit more resilience. So expect all of your private Google data to be published somewhere online soon.
Oh yeah, and then I posted the other one in the private chat. This one, yep. I just was dying, especially the second tweet in this thread. So David Evelyn, he works on like numerous localizations, like one that we covered recently for Sid Crap Final Reasoning with the weird gender term. Oh my god, David Evelyn just frustrates me. He got all pissy about Yuji Itadori's English voice actor criticizing John Larry's Jujutsu Kaisen localization. That localization is ass. Oh. John Larry does like okay localizations. He does the Elusive Samurai localization, which is okay for the most part. God, that Jujutsu Kaisen localization is complete ass. But what he said, I just was dying. He said it broke my heart because MacArthur didn't have to do that. What are you going to gain from that aside from a few thousand likes on Elon Musk's masturbation platform? I don't understand dogpiling on someone to make yourself look better for decisions where he might not have been responsible for. We're only a single person. We can only do so much. And what he's referring to is basically with localizations, it goes through multiple people. It's not just the localizer. There's the editor and stuff like that. And it's like, well, multiple people approved that botched localization that Biz did, for example, in Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi recently. There was Simp up in there. Yeah, Simp is in a manga localization. In Astro Royale, the localizer, or I should say Viz, approved Ick being in a localization. In Astro, I think it was Astro Royale.
Are we sure Viz approved this? Or the localizers just like hold my beer? You know,
The
was that
localizers put it in there. The editors, it goes through the letterers and in Viz's case, because they don't have the quality control system, they don't need it because what they told me was they have an editorial team with a combined 200 years plus experience or some crap like that. And I'm just like,
that's not how that works.
that's not how that works.
That's not how that works. No, that
No, I know
I mean,
that's not how it works. I
like,
mean,
like Richard's explaining the flaw in their thinking right here, and he says, most people think I'm gay. I never correct them. It's really not my problem. People just go around assuming stuff without asking. It is what it is. And these are the same people that you're talking about, Nerdigans, that are just like, well, we don't have a word that describes the Japanese grunt noise that means they disapprove. So we're going to use ick in the place of that as to, we're going to express that as the Zoomer word of I caught the ick, and that's how they're going to express that through. Or they're going to mention Among Us, or they're going to call somebody a simp, because they don't know a English to Japanese translation to express this term. Well, I guarantee you in Japan, it's not simp. And I guarantee you in Japan, they're not talking about Among Us while they're walking around with flip phones. All right? That's not going to happen. There's no sussy baka conversation happening back in the 2003 manga. It's not happening.
oh, it gets better with this. It says, Gizmodo puts this before this. Whenever a translator faces online harassment, publishers rarely take a stance against it because there are no protocols other than recommending translators lay low online, not rock the boat, and safeguard their social media. You shouldn't be doing stupid crap anyway. You shouldn't be rocking the boat and attacking your concerned readers. Like, that's stupid anyway. I know to be fair, a lot of the manga readers can be a little intense at times, and you shouldn't be attacking people anyway. But at the same time, the localizers shouldn't be doing really stupid crap either. You've seen how Katrina attacks the fan base.
Right. And so
they usually are the ones that are instigating shit. And what David says here is with my publisher, specifically Viz Media, they don't give you much in the way of direction, which is a huge mistake, Viz. You should be giving them direction. Just
what
run
are they doing? They just go in there, punch their time card, and make things up as they go? What?
They just say this, just run your social media account how you want, but don't do anything that defames or draws bad press. Don't be a dumbass, essentially, is the rule of thumb. Viz, you guys are stupid. You guys are. You need to give them direction on how to run their social media. I know it should just be common sense on how they run their social media, but obviously they're not doing a good job.
Well, so Bowsette offers this here. Bowsette says, simp, I could understand because that's so widespread and prevalent with idol culture. Well, here's the problem, is that they do have words for this, though. They have their own words. And so part of localizer's job isn't necessarily to move all the words over. It is necessary, though, to put a little box in the corner when you're going to use a Japanese word that says this word, like otaku, equals obsessed fan. And so that's helpful because as you encounter Japanese culture, otaku will be a word used specifically to describe a certain type of obsessed fan, particularly those, I would say, anime video game are more otaku than the idol guys are more something different. I think they have a different word for those guys that are idol obsessed.
I'm trying to remember.
But yeah, and then you have your ladies that are obsessed with the yaoi.
Those are fujoshis.
Yeah, the fujoshis. And so there's so many different terms. So simp is way too small for a term to be applied to these guys because it again, otaku applies to a certain type. Fujoshi applies to a certain type. There's yet another one I can't remember the name of that applies to the idols. It's just one of those things where it's more helpful to put a little box in the corner that says otaku equals obsessed fan rather than saying simp.
If you're going to use simp and it's supposed to be a replacement for a Japanese slang term.
Oh, Spencer's got it.
Yeah.
He says, while otaku is used in the West more for anime fans, the term itself means fanatic. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so those idol fans would be idol otaku. So yeah, otaku would be a much more appropriate than trying to use simp in there. because again, like otaku is Japanese specific, and this rewards the reader who then feels like, oh, I know what a Japanese word means now. So wherever they go,
Because like
otaku.
they don't want to teach localizer's job isn't supposed to teach you Japanese.
You're right. You're
But,
right. You got me. You got
but
me.
here's
That's true.
here's the thing though. You know
That
what
would help. That would help. You know?
The Manga Plus exclusive localizers, you know what they do? They actually give Japanese, or I'm sorry, they actually include translation notes in their localizations. They do. So if there's like a slang term or something, they'll actually include it.
She's got a point here. Bowsette brings up, I know that we're talking about the simps, but what I'm saying is, will the masses understand the otaku?
That's why
And they
translation
won't.
notice for.
And that's the other thing is I think that's the thinking of why they put simp in there. Is that Bowsette's probably got it, is that down there in the guts of these people's thinking is they were like, well, the kids are stupid. They won't understand that that box means that word, and they're not going to connect that. And it's not that Bowsette's thinking that way, it's that she's hacked into their thinking. So now we understand what they're going through there. I think that's probably the closest proximity of what went through their mind. Kids are too dumb to understand otaku. Amazing. Blows my mind. When we were growing up, they were doing everything they could to get crossover going between these two cultures. We were getting, like, MTV was running straight up Japanese hip hop, straight up J-pop, just with subtitles. That was it. We were just getting, and they weren't really great. We were getting that on MTV. I remember that. I had satellite at that time. I could watch that because, I'm up here in the north where we don't get cable and stuff. So, but yeah, I remember that. The Asian invasion was huge. Interstellar 5555 on Toonami was massive. They ran that over and over and over again, the whole thing. And it was huge to get this crossover going, especially with the language, because like Japan and the US are going to take this 21st century together. And then 2003 rolled around and we just decided it's easier to blow up people in the desert. So we're going to do that. They just did it. Now we're too afraid to try and teach kids what otaku means. It's amazing. This is that domino meme, like the invasion of Iraq, and they're up here. We can't teach kids what otaku means. They're too dumb.
It's so dumb. Like, it's crazy. Fan translations are willing to do it. Like, for
And
example,
better.
the best example of this is Detective Conan when there's like ciphers and stuff like that. Especially with a lot of them having like Japanese puns. And this is why I can't do the Viz ones because the Viz localization is just unreadable. They actually have like at the end of the chapter sometimes they will include like a little extra thing about like how this is like a Japanese pun or like how everything is how well even in the chapter too how it's a Japanese pun and like kind of explain it. The Jujutsu Kaisen ones, they had like they went the extra mile to like really spell out how things are like there's like a cultural connection to like Buddhist culture and stuff like that. Like fans go the extra mile to really educate the reader on things. And it just which they should. And it just sucks that you don't get that from professional localizers like that. It's just really, really lame.
Not only don't you get it, but the people that are doing this, these localizers, are proud that they are not crossing the streams, that they are not attempting to create cross-pollination between the cultures, that they are driving home American slang into a very Japanese presentation. And they're proud of it. Forgetting this whole like cultural appropriation thing. Ooh, my culture's not your costume. Remember that? Remember that meme that was going around forever where you were being beaten over the head because of the iParty costumes? Yeah. Apparently it's okay just to America wash all the Japanese slang that comes out because the kid, American kids is too stupid to understand what otaku means. They wonder why the world hates us.
Yeah.
It's the thing that Bowsette brought up here is that a lot of people that was a question here. There it is. Bowsette asks, you know what U.S.A. means? Don't Google it, offhand. I don't. I know that there's idiot in there, which implies that there's some lacking of intelligence. So U.S.A. I am assuming is like a special classification of dum-dum. And then Bowsette went on to explain that it is a simpleton, mainly means to have a small mind or a low level of understanding. So that's a compounded, idiot meaning. But yeah, yep. And it's another one, again, like very simple that you could explain in a little text box. It says like extra idiot, Usarabaka means extra idiot, and that's, it's just one of those things where like you could actually get kids to engage with that then. Give them a dumb little QR code in the manga where they could Google it and then they go get the pronunciation of it off of somebody's YouTube channel. Maybe Viz starts doing that where they hire people in Japan. Yeah, it's too easy. You could teach kids Japanese, but
something like Kodansha is. I wish Kodansha would do the opposite, do it for us. But in Japan, what Kodansha did, they partnered up with a language program, so that way Japanese readers can log on to the English K-manga program and read the English version so that they can learn English and also interact with the American community. So they're learning English and interacting with the American community. And they could also probably point out if translations are incorrect, and that would really help them too.
And again, like Bowsette points out exactly what you're saying is that they won't do it. They have to take an easy way out, but they have the opportunity. And like I said here, like you don't have to drive home like the textbook definition of the word.
No.
If you give them an overview, and again, like we talked about with that QR code in the manga, if you have your guy that just says the word, that's all you do is you hire a guy that just says the word. You just buy the rights off of some audio website and you just put it up there under Viz language, and it, your QR code goes to a specific word and you hear the pronunciation and what it means right there and you read on in your manga. Again, that would be very easy to do. And then whoever's doing this can say, hey, we're educating kids. We're bringing kids forward into this. And well, that's just it, is you don't need to. Google allows you to generate a QR code for any link for free. I can do that right now. I could generate a QR code right now to this StreamYard link right now. Yeah, for free. Google lets you do that. You just do that. And then you can print that on a shirt. You do whatever you want with that, like that dancing Trump thing on the back. Yeah, that's just some guy printing a Google generated QR code. You don't have to pay anything for that. You got to pay for the web hosting. Yeah, but if you just upload it to YouTube, you're good to go. You're good to go. But this is what they're not doing. Consider this, Nerdigans. I was going to call you, I don't know what I was going to call you. It started with a G, and I don't know why. But anyway, Girligans. That's right. It was Girligans. I was going to call you Girligans. Anyway, listen, when we were growing up, it would have been really helpful if like early YouTube offered us the ability to have someone from Shonen Jump. Remember when they were sending it through the mail? They probably still do. I'm just an old man. But
no, they don't.
Yeah. So I used to get Shonen Jump in the mail way up here at the edge of civilization. And that would have been really helpful if it had like a way to get into like when Ray William Johnson was making YouTube videos about the news, it would be really helpful if like someone in Japan was doing a G4 style YouTube video about every issue of Shonen Jump in concert with its release. So you could go to the website, go to the YouTube channel on your old high-speed internet DSL connection. Remember the DSL, the speed of the future. Your high-speed internet connection. And listen to some guy with like an Invader Zim hoodie explain to you what just happened in the Dragon Ball Z manga chapter this week. And he's like, oh yeah, Piccolo was totally cool. He punched 17 so hard his fist came out the back. And that, because that defied physics. Remember when G4 would just talk about stuff like that? They'd just be a fan like somewhere just talking about it. They weren't trying to preach to you. It was a quick moment, don't get me wrong. But that really could have capitalized that. And that's what I'm talking about is like, if you just had like some way for the fans to interact with this way back when we were kids, it was a Japanese guy who would say the word. Like you were out there and like, did you know that Naruto has female friends who are kunoichi? Do you know the difference between a ninja and a kunoichi is simply that they're man and woman? However, their tasks in ancient times were very different. You get a quick little overview of like what the ancient ninja were. I had the misconception my entire life that the ninja were farmers. who rose up against the samurai the way that the Americans rose up against the English. But in reality, they were samurai that liked black ops. For whatever reason, I just decided one day that the ninja were American revolutionaries and they just wore their pajamas in the night, and that was it. But they were actually Black Ops samurai, and I just didn't know that until we started making Assassin's Creed videos where people from Japan started educating me. And it would have been really nice if when I was getting into Naruto and walking around with those fingerless gloves with the plates on the back, like the turbo virgin I was when I was 14, you know, I really would have appreciated knowing the history of these people. But, Shonen Jump couldn't busy itself with that because it had many other things to talk about. It's pretty big manga to begin with. And to
Yeah.
add in a history report on top of it. So this YouTube channel could have been the outreach, and should still be now that they're putting Naruto out again, of like, by the way, if you want to know what a real ninja was like, they were Black Ops samurai. Yeah, you remember the samurai with their really cool swords and really cool armor? Imagine if they cranked that up to 11. And that's, did you know that the sumo wrestlers weren't always fat? No, I didn't know that. I really didn't.
Well, there's also Hinamaru Zumo that does a really good job with sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn a lot from Hinamaru Zumo, like that not all sumo wrestlers are like extremely, extremely fat. There's actually, Hinamaru is not like the fattest guy on the earth. And I mean, one of the guys ended up becoming an MMA fighter.
Yeah, they weren't Ninja Warrior, the TV show. Yeah, so what a surprise. I took me by surprise. I don't know if I can do Brain's voice. I don't know if I can do Pinky's either. I'll have to see if I can find an AI that does it, I guess. But people sure talk a lot about G4. Must have left an impression on them. G4 was an attempt to take what the success of MTV was with music and create it with games. And so G4, yeah, exactly. Particularly more when Olivia Munn wasn't so concerned with like, I don't want to set a wrong impression for girls. When she was just another gamer, everything was fine. I'm not referring to her trying to pull hot dogs from the ceiling. I think that's a problem with her mouth there. That was a problem. But honestly, when she was just a gamer and not so concerned with being a role model, that was a much better time, especially with all the other hosts on G4 before they got hyper politicized. They were just like, yeah, when she was Melanie Mac's idol, right? Yeah, I remember that brief moment in history.
Yeah.
But G4, the original G4 was to take like that grungy approach to teenage. I'm talking like teenage, like I'd say 14 to 22, like that teenage angst area of the brain where you're just kind of like got to rebel against the world. And it was kind of that attitude where like everything short of having like a set that looked like a dirty teenage boy's bedroom was basically what they did.
Yeah.
It was
and
so
they had
great.
Code Monkeys and stuff like that too. Code Monkeys, amazing.
That was a hilarious show. I'm the cock goblin. I love that. I love that show. It was so good. And they understood the gamer culture. That was the other thing about G4, Richard, is they lived it. They existed in it. They had consoles. They played a Game Boy. They understood what Pokemon were. They didn't call them Pokemon, and they rightfully called things out when they were stupid. They were the first place to go gaga over Bayonetta's butt. I remember G4 just running commercials of they themselves cut little brief commercials of Bayonetta's butt. That was just a quick little bumper of like G4, and it was just Bayonetta walking, just to zoom in on her butt while she's walking, and it had the little G4 icon in the background. I remember that. And you get so late at night on G4 and they'd start playing the Girls Gone Wild commercials. And you're like, okay, now this is when the good stuff comes on. That's around the time when Hitler Did Nothing Wrong goes on the History Channel or the Hitler Channel.
Oh, God.
That was again, like G4 was showing you Bayonetta's butt around the same time the History Channel was like, Hitler, he had some ideas.
Well, like, I think what's funny is you have, and we talked about, like, as I mentioned with time earlier, capturing nostalgia. The dub capturing nostalgia with Stephanie Nadolny. It turns out that unlike G4, who couldn't capture nostalgia, Daima was intended to capture the nostalgia, and it wasn't the one that you thought would think it is. Not it was GT. Fans thought it was gonna be theorized it was like GT.0, and yes, it was. The executive producer, Akio Yoku, he confirmed in this interview with Matt and Webb that that the
Madam Web.
development, yeah, Matt and Webb.
Oh, Matt and Webb. I thought you said Madam
Yeah.
Web. I was like, no, that movie
No.
failed. They're not confirming anything.
So he basically confirmed that the production for Daima started when him and Toriyama were working on Superhero. And originally, Toriyama was going to have minimal involvement, kind of like what we saw with GT and like the Dragon Ball anime movies in the 90s. And then Toriyama just got really into it. And Toriyama came up with the ideas of the concept of working of doing it in the of Daima being set in the demon world. And I mean, there was already established lore in the demon world as well, in the guides, and it also with Deborah. And also, if you read Super Dragon Ball Heroes, there was even more lore in starting in like the Dark Demon Realm arc, and also technically Xenoverse as well too, I believe. And what the target audience was, according to Yoku, was the generation in their early 30s and older who grew up watching GT and their kids. That's what he was targeting. And that's why actually that Toriyama decided to make the whole, not just Goku this time, but the whole cast kids, was to capture the GT generation. And also he liked the idea of like, with the bringing back the Noibo and all that. And this I thought was very interesting too. He said, it's also this, a big theme of the work is to have a wider audience. And although this is in hindsight, I feel that by making Goku smaller, the entry point had become wider. And I never thought that everyone would be small. And of course, that it was Sensei's idea. And GT means grand touring, and we are trying to depict an adventure in Daima as well. It will have a different flow and form from Super, where Goku steadily improves his strength. Even though Goku is, see, GT came into play. Even though Goku is small, the sight of him fighting by leaps and bounds using his Naibo stick, aka the power pole, looks fresh, and it will show a different appeal from Super. So yes, it was even inspired by the freaking name GT. Like, it's just so crazy.
The GT should be Generation Tour now that they're younger and they're aiming for the younger audience. It should be Generation Tour. That would be more Dragon Ball Generation Tour. That sounds pretty good, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
that's
But
maybe we'll see. But
But
here's
there's
one
also
thing I
this
wanted
he
to.
said.
What's
There's
that?
also this. Let me mention this real quick.
Yeah.
He said he didn't want to make it childish, of course, and I had to properly express the appeal of the characters in the story, and I wanted parents to watch it with their children. So I tried to pay attention to the image, and that they made sure it was an excellent balance for both the parents and their kids, which I thought was. I think, and if you guys have been watching Daima, you know they've done a really, really good job with that.
So Bowsette brings up what I was going to talk about here. I was going to
Yeah.
clear my throats. Sorry, I got a bit of a bug going on. Don't worry. You won't catch it through the internet yet, but that's coming. Don't worry. Stargate, it's on its way. But Bowsette asks, wasn't GT non-canon? And
Yes.
until Dragon Ball Super Heroes showed up and decided there's a multiverse now, and that the Time Patrol is
You mean
able to
Dragon Ball
move between
Super?
them.
That
It was
Super.
superheroes. It was superheroes. It was where you had all the alternate versions. You had
But that's
Goku.
Super Dragon Ball Heroes.
Okay, sorry. Super Dragon Ball here. Sorry. The movie is where superheroes came in. My bad.
Yeah.
So many supers, so many heroes, different mix-ups.
Yeah.
So this is Dragon Ball
There's
You
also
were
Dragon Ball
something
Online
like
that kind of expanded stuff too. But yeah, Super
But
Dragon
yeah.
Ball, I think, yes, there was, I think Spencer could correct me if I'm wrong, but
Well, speak of the devil.
was Dragon Ball Online before Super Dragon Ball Heroes, or was it after? I forgot.
Dragon Ball Online?
Yeah, because I know that expanded.
Oh, you mean the game that existed for like 3 months?
Yeah.
That was before. I'm pretty sure that was either right before or like
Wow, that lasted
right
longer
at the
than
same
Concord.
time.
Yeah, because I know Toriyama worked on a lot of the lore for that, if I remember correctly.
I genuinely don't remember because, like, again, that game lasted for like 3 months. And it was during that weird time when like everybody was trying to make an online game. Mega Man was trying to do it like at the same time. So I kind of like, and all of them got dustbined, right? Like, I don't think any single game that tried to do that during then is around anymore. So like, I kind of just, there was this part in my brain where I was like, I have to shove these all away because all of my favorite franchises are getting these games, but they're all bad. And they're all going to be bad, or they're all going to get canceled. So I need to just ignore them. Otherwise, that small part of my like my inner child that still somehow has hope for video games would get excited, and then he'd be crushed.
Yeah, and the thing I wanted to bring up about that, about it being non-canon, is that I have seen, I think, fan art go around. Can you confirm for me, Nerdigans, has Goku done the SSJ4 transformation in
No.
Daima? Okay,
No,
so it is
he just did Super Saiyan 3 this past week.
Okay, so that was a bit of fan art that was going around where Vegeta transformed into Super Saiyan 3, and then Goku was like, "Oh, watch this," and then the fan art showed him transforming
going
into
to
Super
4.
Saiyan 4.
Just
Break
one more
little
time
tiny.
to smack Vegeta down.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like, oh no, I had it all along. I was just letting you think you won. You know, just
okay. Like, side note, before we go back to Daima, that always bugged me about GT, where Vegeta uses like the Burst Wave generator to go 4 and skips 3. Like, that's not something, I feel like that's not something Vegeta would do, you know? Like,
No,
he'd
it
never take a
wasn't.
shortcut. He'd be like, no, I'm gonna go I will study my wife's like science books, and I will build my own hyperbolic time chamber somehow, and I'll make it even better with blackjack and hookers. And then he'd become like Super Saiyan 4.5 to beat Goku, and then Goku goes 5 eventually, and that's when we go to Dragon Ball AF.
I'm so glad that Vegeta got his Super Saiyan 3 for him and just like shut down the debate. That
what debate?
About Vegeta having Super Saiyan 3 or not.
Okay, hold on. This is not against you, Nerdigans, because I know you're probably on my same side, but it's like, why was there ever, I don't know why was there even a debate around that? I just thought it was always sort of taken for granted that Vegeta just never trained and got up to that. If you're going through the GT timeline, right? Like, you go to Z and then you kind of everybody retires a little bit, like Kingdom Come style, and then everybody comes back. So who's debating? That's where you start getting into like the stupid weeds of like, there are like fans and there are fandoms, and then there are like, what do I want to say this? Like, people in fandoms, like power scalers, and just people who always want to like battle and argue about like the minutia of things that sort of doesn't like they're the ones who like, they want to, they try, what am I trying to say here? Like, they go looking for something to ping you on, like, oh, look, Vegeta never got Super Saiyan 3, so he never got it. And it's like, could you just like use one bit of reading comprehension for just like a little bit and we'll be okay here? Like, those are like console warriors or people like that. Like, they're always annoying.
It's like, and I know the people that would want to bring it up in Super, it's like, dude, Super Saiyan 3 is like not the most efficient form. Vegeta, like in the manga, when he fought Zamasu, remember, he was in God, and he only used a little bit of blue for when he punched Zamasu. So it's like, yeah, of course you're not going to see Vegeta in Super Saiyan 3. It's not an efficient form.
Right.
So, Ravul Arvita wants to bring up that when Vegeta transformed, he was under the control of Bebe. So I just want to bring that up. So,
well, he also did it on his own. Like, after Baby controls him, that's when he goes Super Saiyan 4, and that's when Bulma makes the Burst Wave generator for him, because the 4s all come out during the, like, what is that arc called? Like the Shenron arc at the end.
Yeah, the Dragon's arc.
The dark dragon arc, or whatever its name is these days.
Yeah, I don't know what cocaine they were doing, but it was pretty poor. All right, they need to get that Team Sonic cocaine, and that would have fixed it. So
they put Trunks in shorts. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
it's not the good cocaine. I'm just saying.
What was that nerd
Remember,
again?
remember, Toriyama like only did like a few of the designs. He really
Oh,
didn't
I
do
know. I'm
any of the
still just
rest.
saying, like,
He was
aside from
drunk when
that,
he did some of them
they
too.
still
You
decided
know?
to put they still decided to put Trunks in shorts, and maybe that's like a cultural disconnect because like maybe shorts are really really cool in Japan, or they were back then, but they're not over here.
They would have put him in a bucket hat, but
See, that's what.
Omega
Okay,
Shenron.
you're going down the same path I am, which is like it looks like the little kid school kid uniform, right? Like
looks like
you got your
TK.
shorts, yeah, exactly. And I'm
I
like,
would have expected like Palmon to like erupt out of Trunks' cargo shorts any minute.
You're not the kid who like went to the future or like came back.
You're not the kid that sliced Frieza in half. I don't care about you. You're lame. Go away.
Or even if we want to, even if it's like, oh, time travel, whatever. Like the main Trunks, that Trunks still went up against like Kid Buu. Like it did a bunch.
Can you
of
imagine?
stuff.
You're Vegeta. You're the father of this Trunks with the shorts on, and you're like, what happened? You
like,
were a badass. Did I not hit you enough? What happened?
It's the no son of Vegeta, like no son of the Vegeta Prince like line is going out dressed like that. You go upstairs and you put on your armor right now.
He sees Trunks doing the Poom Para Para dance, right, with the Poom Para Para dancers, right, and he looks at Bulma and he says, "This is your fault."
Yeah, he's like, I told you like not to let him watch the like Teletubbies or whatever when he was a kid.
If you had only let me take him into space, he would have been a fine Saiyan warrior. Not whatever this is.
It's basically Space King of the Hill.
Yeah, right.
with Trunks being Bobby Hill. Heck yeah.
Oh my god. That's Space King of the Hill.
I just remembered.
That
like,
boy ain't right, Bulma.
Picture Cotton standing on the throne on planet Vegeta, and he's King Vegeta. So you have Cotton with like he's standing on the throne, so he's only like regular height, even though he's like, standing on the throne.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of like a different species, but it's like what do you came back, Vegeta, already? You only conquered one planet. When I was your age, I killed 50 Namekians.
50 Namekians. Woman, get over here.
Namekians took off my sins.
This is good, Vegeta.
No, you know what they do? No, you have him. He has like a pod like Frieza, and you don't know that he's like that short, so he's always like hovering around it. And then eventually he like jumps out and he's wham.
Yeah, he's like normal guy inside of this thing, and then boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Next to like Nappa, though, you know.
Like,
I would really want now. I want the Strickland propane guy to be the King Guru on Namek, right?
Like, patting his head. Oh, Gohan, I need you to go out there.
Nail,
I need you to save us right now. I don't know what to do.
Nail, I need help, Nail. Nail, come get me, Nail. I'm in trouble, Nail.
Nail, come get me, Nail. I need help. I'm in some bad ways, Nail.
You know who would be? It'd be Roshi. Master Roshi would be Mr. Strickland.
I can't fit his sayings.
Master Roshi would be that friend of Cotton's. I forget what is. I don't remember what his name is. He doesn't ever talk, but he's just like
Vegeta's
an old guy.
wife.
he's an old guy. He's like one of his World War II buddies who all he ever does is like blow up his mouth and like freak people out. That's who Master Roshi would be.
Well, yeah. Cotton is getting all the, I'm sorry, but Roshi is like that pervert getting all the bitches though, or trying to get all the bitches. And
no, that's Boomhauer. We all know that Roshi's Boomhauer. We all know that Roshi's Boomhauer. We all know that Roshi is Boomhauer.
Boomhauer's brother, the one who's like a real sleazebag, even more than
right. I just want Master Roshi. Dang old man, dang
old. Turtle destruction wave, dang old. Shoot it out your palms, like yo.
Why isn't Mike Judge doing this? Why isn't Mike Judge
a reboot of or a continuation of King of the Hill, which is
of course he should totally be reaching out to Toei and be like, let's do a parody.
It would be great. Like,
let's make a movie. Let's make King of the Hill Z.
Do you remember when like this was so weird because when Fox, like back in the 90s, when like it was like the peak of like Fox animation and everything, you would have like King of the Hill was on the like night lineup, But then in mornings, like on Saturday mornings, you would have Fox Kids. And there was this weird period where they were doing like cross promo for King of the Hill on Fox Kids, which was like, I guess the idea was it's a cartoon.
Yeah,
so
they didn't
people-
understand. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So there's a lot of weird like crossover commercials.
Kids, we're gonna
if you
watch
will.
Barney and then Beavis and Butthead.
Right,
after
exactly,
this.
exactly. So there's like the one that always sticks out in my head is Hank and Peggy are driving like their car through space, and they have the Silver Surfer in the back, and they're like,
Yeah, that's
Mr.
right.
Surfer, like I don't know where this power cosmic is taking you, but I'm not seeing it. Like I could see them doing a bunch, like I'll just do a bunch of stuff like that, like bring back that style of old, like the old school Adult Swim stuff where they would just take old footage and then like redub it or whatever. That's kind of like what the Team 4-Star people do. So just get your best King of the Hill impersonators in here.
Dragon of the Hill. Next time on Dragon of the Hill.
Yep.
So Spencer,
That's the next, yeah. Every episode. What's up, Nerd Again? Sorry.
so going into this final fight against Goma, what are you thinking about Daima now? Because you were kind of on the fence about Daima.
Yeah, I still, so my I do like it. What am I trying to say here? I don't even have anything like really big to say. I just feel like now I've been put on the spot, and now I'm like, what do I tell everyone? Yeah, you're right, Nerdigans. When we first started watching Daima all those months ago, I was iffy on it. It was a slow build, a slow boil. You know, one of my big complaints everybody here might remember is that like I just don't care about the demon stuff. In Dragon Ball in general, whether it's here or like Mira and Toa and all that stuff, I don't know why it just doesn't land with me. As we've gone on, I've come to like Daima as it's a good sort of like side story almost. Like I know it's canon, but the fact that it's like it's not going to be like the next big thing, because like we're almost done, aren't we, Nerdigans?
Yeah, there's like a few more episodes.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 episodes left. So it's like a shorter normal anime series length, like 20 episodes or so, or whatever it is. So it's a good fun story, and it's one of those ones where it's like I don't know if for example, like you go, hey, I want to get into Dragon Ball, right? I don't know if it would necessarily be one where I'm like, you got to watch this one because it's going to blow you away. It's going to do all that. But it's one of those ones where I'm like, if you picked it up, if you decided one weekend you wanted to watch it, you'll have fun. You will enjoy your time. Like there's nothing bad there. There's also just nothing like super defining. But there's nothing wrong with that. Like all of that stuff can exist, right? It's not the same thing, but it's slightly related. You've seen this rhetoric going around, Nerdigans, and I think you've commented on it, but like we like in the review corporate like environment we exist in now, if a video game doesn't get like an 8.5 or higher, it's trash. And that's like what everybody considers it, from reviewers to players to the companies themselves. Like an 8.5 is almost a death sentence. But you know, a lot of, if we go back to like the 360 era or the GameCube era. Huh?
What Paul Tassi has said, it's like I think it's a 7 or lower is or like
7 or lower is death, but 8.5 is like not good. That's if you get an 8.5 on a game or whatever, your bosses are going to go, you know, you have to make a good case for us to keep you around, right? Or like you only get another project if you are a sort of big franchise. But why I bring that up is like back in the day, we had a lot of like 7 games, 6 games, you know, low 8 scoring games that we all love. Maybe they're not the best ones that'll shatter all the records and like redefine the genre, but I'm sure all of us out here have like a weird random game that's not great, but we still enjoy it. And you know, we need to. I kind of just want to touch back on and say like, that's good. Like that's okay. We should get back to that mentality where not everything has to blow you away at every time. It's okay for something to just be fun or good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I do want to point this out though. Like the most recent episode of Daima, like when we got to the fight, those camera angles the camera work was just like
were they saving? I feel like they were saving everything for this like end run. Because like I feel
art animation stunning.
Since we got Vegeta Super Saiyan 3, everything has felt like better production level. And it's weird, and I can't like I can't even put like a finger.
You know what
on
happened? They showed that to the studio executive, and they were like, "Finally, money. They pulled out their money. Take all my money. Take out. Finally, thank you.
They're like, finally.
But the demon
Vegeta.
world has looked good from the very beginning. That's the one consistency is the demon world.
It's always looked like that stuff has always looked good. Like let's make it clear. I'm not saying the production was bad necessarily, but there is a weird upgrade in these episodes. And it's sort of that to put it in a different way, like if we were all to go out and, hey, Cider Nerdigans, let's go get some food. Okay, let's just go to Carl's Jr. or whatever. We'll all get burgers. We'll all enjoy it and like it's good. And we won't complain. It's Carl's Jr. and the boobs. But then if somebody all of a sudden, like, I don't know, like Guy Fieri came in and smacked that off the table and put the burger down.
Well,
like,
the boobs
a new
or
burger.
Okay,
Well, no,
it's the burger.
he provides the boobs as well. Like he comes boob equipped.
So yeah, he DEI the boobs. Yeah, he gender swaps the boobs. That's what he does. He gender swaps the boobs.
He just found the most qualified boobs for the job, and it's not his fault if he's got the juiciest rack in the area. All right,
diners, drive-ins, and man titties.
I mean, that's just going to a truck stop anywhere in the United States. But like
we love you, truckers of America.
Yeah, no, we do. That was an observation out of love. I've got
loving
my own little
jab.
man sex. It's fine. I got my own little man sex. I can say it. But as soon as we got that new burger, we'd go, this is a really good burger. And I like it better than that one. That one wasn't bad, but like this one was way better. And that's sort of what's happening here is like we started Daima and it was like, this is good. Everything looks really pretty. Like that very first episode, Nerdigans, where they're doing the recap of everything like they did in Superhero. Yeah. The flashback to the Android saga. That looks really good. Like that first sort of bit where they're all exploring like their kid bodies. Like everything looks good. And then you get here and then everything starts looking great. And so you go like, what happened here? Like, what's with the jump in quality? It's so weird.
I'm not used to things going right.
Right.
What's happening here?
Like it's like going from like what is it, like 780 to like 4K. It's just like that's what it is.
RTX is on.
So gorgeous. And the camera, I'm telling you, Cider, if you've not watched it, the camera angles in this fight against Goma are just like incredible. Like how like they are how they shoot like each fighter like right as they're going in to attack Goma is just unreal.
I want to tell you that
questionable though. Like I really wish we would have gotten a little bit more in the fights between like Goku and Vegeta and Ku and Do a little bit before Goma showed up. But other than that, it's great.
I've seen this push for more dynamic cinematography.
Yes.
More dynamic cinematography across most of Japanese media right now. Like professional Japanese media.
I can see it.
Homemade media, not so much because they're still kind of operating on what indie funding can do. But the major corporations across the board, even sports, has started doing low angle shots. They're doing the drone flyover shots, all of that. They're doing their very best to like. Apparently, TikTok has also ADDified a bit of their group. So this is not a bad thing, is what I'm saying, is that like, if you remember, like the really dynamic anime that I remember that really stole your breath away was Ninja Scroll. Yeah, Ninja Scroll really loved getting you into the guts of it. And then the one with I think was it Black Samurai? What was the Afro Samurai?
Afro Samurai, yeah.
Afro Samurai loved doing that leading edge cut thing. Where they would put the camera on top of the backside of the blade and you would follow it through the cut. They really like doing that.
Cool. I liked that.
Yeah. And Rurouni Kenshin, Samurai X, whichever one you like to call it, they leaned into that in the last end, sort of the way Daima is doing it, is in that final battle between Kenshin and his disciple, the one that got all burned up there and turned into the villain. They're throwing every camera angle possible at this, like everything they could. You got stuff from music videos they're putting into this. So Daima leaning into this dynamic cinematography, especially in the last half, is really going into how Japanese media is like, well, we mastered the efficiency of making film. Now we need to like master the dynamic nature of making film. Because you go back and you look at these old Kamen Rider things, right? And Dragon Ball Daima, it's just its review, right? And it's just its review of the series, right? Remember, we saw Goku and Frieza, and we saw a whole different camera,
like shot,
call
like
it a storyboard, basically.
Yeah. Yeah,
You and I know it as a storyboard, but as the audience, you saw a whole different set of camera angles interpreting that fight, not from a new perspective, just simply catching it from a different angle so it felt new again. Again, like even the video games didn't do this. They went shot for shot. So this is the first time we saw Frieza from a different angle in which he shot he shot Goku in the face.
Well, if you're talking to like 11-year-old me, she works.
Right, because I too thought Frieza was a woman.
Everybody did. And then
I was used to Rita Repulsa being a villain, you know?
Exactly,
so I was okay with
the same
pointy head, tiny thing with lipstick being a girl. I was okay with that.
And
right?
everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just space.
I never realized that link, but I think that was the exact same one I probably had. That's great.
And that's just what it is. So like we're so lucky now that like I really hope the Japanese audience pushes Team Capsule Corp, whoever's behind this, to do a full redo of the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z series, because we now have like, guys, you don't even have to boost up the audio. You literally can just reanimate everything and let the audio do the work for you.
You
don't
really
have to do the
can.
voices. It's fine. You can 4K upgrade the voices now too, so you don't even have to go find the voice actors and bother them. Then, as this stuff is reanimated, put out movies that expand the story that's happening in the current chapter released. So now you have the actors come back and tell.
What if they just start doing like they do that remake of the Dragon Ball series, like from start to finish, and then they just at the same time just remake the movies the same way and just release them in the same schedule? No, like I think it would be awesome, but I also just think there's something funny about the concept.
Right, it would be
we're gonna
hilarious.
redo everything the exact same way, but it's better.
It would be hilarious to get Trucker Hat Android 13 again, you know, snapping Goku in half over his knee in 4K. You know, that's still funny to me. It's horrible because it's jarring when you're a little kid and you're seeing your hero snapped like a twig, but then like as an adult, it's hilarious to just see this Trucker Hat weirdo.
Like later, what is it? Like Android 14 like powers up and punches him in the dick, and then just like slams him and throws him away, and it's like, Goku, you're actually losing. I think that was probably the only time in Dragon Ball outside of maybe the Frieza fight where I was like, Goku might lose. Oh my god,
he got punched in the dick. He might lose this time, guys. Vegeta broke his ribs, but he didn't punch him in the dick.
Like these are bad, guys. Like this is really bad.
You know, that would be an excellent way to end Daima, right? Like the fight's going really south, and then Goma punches him in the dick, and people are like, "Oh no, oh no!" Even Jiren didn't punch him in the dick.
It's him so hard that like behind Goku, Goten, and Gohan start like erasing out of existence.
Yeah, it's Back to the Future style.
Yeah. Dad. What were you saying, Nerdigans?
And somehow Trunks is too, and Vegeta.
I thought Goma already punched someone in the dick. I just can't remember who.
Wasn't it? It was. I can't remember like any of the new people's names, like the demon people name. I thought it was one of them.
Or it wasn't Tamagami, was it? No, it wasn't Tamagami.
No, it wasn't Tamagami.
I love that that Neva was like, Tamagami, go. You gotta go into the fight. I love that Tamagami number one's in the fight too. I would have loved if Neva summoned number 2 and number 3 to join the fight too. That would have been so sick.
That would have been cool.
And then have them
they're probably together at like the end. Like that's when you're gonna have your. I mean, they didn't do it first, but it's the best way to refer it. Your Avengers Endgame moment, right? Where like everybody.
Yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen near the end.
I really hope that we get to see. I really hope Neva, especially since they opened the gate to the other demon realms. I really hope Neva summons number 3 and number 2, and then we have the Tamagami's fuse. That would be so sick.
Well, like it's possible. We'll see.
So Richard asked a question here.
What's up, Rich?
He says, this has me wondering what stands out to kids these days. What's going to be their greatest of all time, their entry point? And I have to tell you, unfortunately, it's going to be the same as ours. The Zoomers and the Alphas have no culture of their own. They have not been allowed. You wonder why Skibbity Toilet's big? It's because we have 100 years of Superman. It's because we have 60 years of Spider-Man. It's because we refuse to advance beyond a current idea in any direction. I mean, I like Sonic, but my goodness, we kind of need to do something a little different. It's a very big world that he lives in.
And the problem with that is the, not to cut you off, but it's just, quick note is like, it's the corporatification. Obviously there's all the agenda and like USAID stuff and everything that we always talk about, but it's also the corporatization of all of these IPs because, back in the 90s, early 2000s, Sonic Team or Marvel Comics, they were sort of, they were corporations and they had business dealings, but they still were sort of a little independent. They could still go a little rogue. They could still experiment. Nowadays things like Sonic or Spider-Man or even Batman, like even compared to back then, they're like IP icons, so you can't do anything interesting with them that might alienate them to a bigger core of your audience. And I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but like look at Miles Morales, right? You have a black Latino kid who got spider powers and has like a dad as a cop and a mom, like a social worker mom. You can have a lot of stories that explore, the harsh realities of, growing up as a black kid in that sort of environment. You can have a lot of stories about just being the kid of a cop and like what that means in terms of, is he ever going to come home? Things like that. You can also, look at what Miles would be like as a young man, tempted by things, by like his uncle as the Prowler to go into crime or to help out a friend who did a crime because he's a friend, even though he knows it's wrong. There's a lot of things you can do there, but because Miles has to be sold to everybody and not just the black kids, but also like the white kids, you can't have him do anything. So what do you get? You get, what do black kids like? Anime, rap. That's it. That's all Miles's personality is. Oh, and Jordans. Like it's almost more racist that you have to, when they have to keep them safe, but that's with everybody. That's why Sonic can't be anything more than, like what was it in Sonic Frontiers where he's just like happy-go-lucky, like everything's great. And it's like, there's some some hard stuff going on here.
Super depressed.
All of his friends are like, yeah, we're going to go on our own way.
Believe it or not, Spencer, I watched a video over the weekend that explained, believe it or not, that is the most popular Sonic game to release since Sonic Adventure 2, since when Shadow was released. That has been the most, believe it or not, it is the most popular one.
I believe it because it's probably the best playing one. And it had a lot of people, people want to like Sonic, but we've gotten so much trash that once we got something that played okay, it was like, oh man, finally I can have a good time playing Sonic. But then you're right, like that writing was so awful weird. You and I have talked about it where like all of Sonic's friends are super depressed. They're saying like, we gotta get away from him. Yeah, we gotta get away from you. But then that's what's weird is that Sonic doesn't really react or introspect or grow.
He's like, yeah, that's cool. I get that.
Exactly. He just goes like Knuckles is like, I need some time to go like be on my own.
Knuckles is like, Sonic, I gotta get away from your chili dog farts, bro. They're bad.
And then he just gets like, cool, yeah.
I hate you too.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, I've been chasing you forever and you've never rewarded my love. So I'm gonna go be a real estate agent now. And Sonic's like, okay, have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you're not the main character.
I want to point this out real quick though. Like, when Spencer was talking, I'm like thinking, dude, they could have just done like Static Shock kind of thing for Miles Morales because everyone loves Static Shock. It transcends race.
They could have just done Static Shock. They could have just done that, and they didn't. They couldn't. They couldn't bring themselves to do it.
They had to make it modernized, right? Like you remember, Static Shock now got his powers not from getting caught up in a gang war that he, knew he shouldn't have been at. He, he fell in with just like the wrong people, made a mistake, and then that's why he became Static, and that's why he went off and fought. Instead, now, he was at a BLM protest, and the tear gas canisters that the police were using had whatever that was, like compound, I forget what it was, but
bang baby gas.
Yeah, the bang baby gas. And so now that's how he got his powers. It's so it doesn't, there's like no risk, there's no soul. There's no soul, there's no lesson, there's no humanity to it. It just feels so very, very safe, if you will. Like, oh, you're going to go to a BLM protest, arguably, at least here in America, one of the safer events because everybody was on that side, or at least like the bigger institutions were. And so you go to that and then you get superpowers. That's the lesson we're sort of taking away, where it's like, okay, what does he learn? Why does he want to use his powers now? It's just so, it just doesn't work. It's so flimsy.
So one of the things that Bowsette brings up here is she says, Cider, doesn't matter if it's old IPs, you champion for Power Rangers too. We want the IPs to be good and not woke for ourselves and children. And while I agree on that part, I just want to stress that there quite literally is not new media for these young kids. I think Steven Universe was the last big sensation. I don't think even the life of Gumball was as big as Steven Universe.
I think that's I actually think that's more popular with people like our age.
Yeah,
like I love Gumball.
Yeah, I think it punches above its weight level. It kind of got the PG-13 rating. It should have been more like on the edge of Adult Swim. You know, it really should have
been the lead-in show. Yeah,
yeah, it's like Happy Tree Friends, but without the violence. It's right about there. But like so this is what I'm saying is that they didn't get new IP, so you ended up with Skibbity Toilet filling that vacuum.
Right.
And now you've got Michael Bay working on a Skibbity Toilet cinematic universe because that's it. They don't have anything.
Yeah. And that's
even
what
the
I was
Japanese
sort of
have done this.
And that's what I was trying to get at just before, like, you continue. But that's what I was trying to get at is they don't have anything because they can't, like, the corporations give them the same generic slop over and over and over and over and over again that they just go, all right, like, this is boring. This sucks. Like, I don't want this. Like, I need something, anything to stimulate my brain. And that's how we have Skibbity Toilet. Go ahead.
Well, and that's just what it is that anything to stimulate my brain. You raise kids on a tablet, guess what happens? They need to have that kind of run. A lot of boomers got confused about millennial humor and even more confused with Zoomer humor. Zoomer humor just relies on absurdity. You see a meme of a shopping cart, all three of the wheels are fine, and the third wheel just has Arnold Schwarzenegger's screaming face from Kindergarten Cop on it. And you go, what the hell does that mean? Well, it's supposed to symbolize how you feel when you're going through Walmart with that one wheel acting up, that you feel like you have an Austrian man screaming at the top of his lungs underneath your foot. You know, that everyone in the store knows you are the guy with the squeaky wheel. And that's how that is supposed to symbolize. But instead, the boomers are expecting some joke about, like, you know, now to get a deal at Walmart, you got to get tased before you can claim your blue light special. You go to Kmart, your blue light special is liable to get you tased, that kind of thing, you know? And that like a Rodney Dangerfield kind of delivery about that. That's what they're expecting. And that's why they don't get it. You know, millennial humor is like, you get that three thing, and then there's like a picture of the Grim Reaper, and it's just like, I want to die. You know, it's not Arnold screaming. It's just the Grim Reaper because the wheels screaming. I might as well,
might as well die.
Need to die now.
Yeah,
that's millennial humor. You know. But speaking of millennial humor, this has nothing to do with that. This is Gundam, and we're talking about how the changes in Gundam aren't. This is not meant to be a reboot of the Gundam series. This is not meant to be a retelling of it. This is meant to be Hideki I think it's Anno. Is that his name? Hideki Anno's version of it as he was hired to create. As Nerdigans explained to me before we got into this, it's been well clarified. This is not an attempt to reboot the Gundam series. It's not a attempt to steal Tomino's thunder. Hideki Anno's only been brought in here to do his his magic that he brought to I believe it was, which Shin was he involved with? It was Shin Ultraman, right?
Shin Ultraman, Shin Godzilla, Shin Kamen Rider, and Shin
So
Eva.
he's bringing his Shin magic. So this is technically Shin Gundam, is what we're looking at here is Shin Gundam, but they gave it a very interesting name.
I mean, like, here's the thing with Gundam naming, and like, this bothers me, but it also makes me, it's sort of one of those, like, of course they did it. Gundam names are always all over the place. Like, it is, so when in reality, I would have expected them, if they were doing like a reimagining, right, give it some sort of indicator, right? Like Mobile Suit Gundam reverb or something or whatever, and that's how we know. But instead they just went Mobile Suit Gundam QU blah 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 blah. So it seems like a mainline entry, but it's not a mainline entry. And I'm just like, all right, yeah, that's how you guys do it. Mobile Suit Gundam Crossbones XX Thunderbolt 2, like Zeta Origin. That's like one of them. And I'm just like, all right.
Yep. Just throw all the things at it. Kind of like how Gundam Wing is Mobile Report.
Yeah.
Gundam Wing. It's not
Mobile
even
Report
Mobile
Gundam
Suit
Wing.
Gundam. It's like, what the hell is that?
I bet it was even worse because, like, we obviously got like Gundam Wing when we were kids, so we weren't thinking about any of that. But imagine fans in Japan, they're like, Mobile Report? it went one of two ways. They either got really mad because it's like, no, this is supposed to be like Mobile Suit Gundam. It's like, I don't want reports and talking. Or they went, yes, it's just like real life. I get more reports at home. I get to do more paperwork.
You read it like it's a military thing, and you find out it's just like boy band members who have giant robots that are invincible. And it's like, hold on, what? What does this have to do with military reports?
And then at one point, one of them wears a clown suit, like an actual clown suit. I don't know what's going
legit
on, but
clown
it looked
suit.
great.
The man is a legit clown in the circus.
Got one of the best.
You got
mobile suits,
clowned
which
on
is
by a
by a clown. One of the best. And he pilots arguably like, it's not my favorite of the series, but it's probably the coolest one out of it. The Heavy Arms Custom, which is just you have guns, and then your guns have guns, and then the bullets in those guns have guns. It's the most ridiculous kit ever, and I just love it.
And then on top of all that, he had a like 40-foot tall, not a 40-foot, like a 14-foot tall half Joker mask made that replicates the one he uses to go on top of the Gundam. It's like,
I forgot that.
Who paid for this? Who did this? This is your circus budget? How much money do you make in the circus?
It's like that candles meme. It's like, popcorn, $100. Clean up after the show, $200. Flying Gundam glider that looks like one of our performers' masks, $40 million. Salary for the tiger handler, $20. Somebody who's good with budgeting, help me. My family is starving to death. Like
Mobile Gooner Report.
Mobile Goon Report.
But
that would be the sequel series where Rain's Gundam actually gets screen time.
USAID paid for the heavy arms mask.
Oh my god.
But
soft influence.
So as you know, with this series, the Gundam looks a lot different than usual.
Oh yeah.
Try to find pictures here. Gundam.
Oh, while you're looking for videos or photos, Spencer, I don't know if you've been seeing this or not, but one of the toy hunters I watch, he went to Hobby Lobby the other day and he found a ton of model kits there for like 40% off.
That's what you've talked about that like often, like a lot over the past like couple months as you've been finding them. I've never I don't know where the hell a Hobby Lobby is. All the hobby, like the one time I've been in a hobby, anytime I went, like the one time I've been in a Hobby Lobby, it never had anything that cool.
They had mass. I think it was like they had like some of the top grade kits there.
Yeah,
like
I haven't even seen a low grade kit. So
I think they had like a master grade kit. He was saying, and I was just like,
ridiculous.
What? Yeah, he had
now, like you can find those things at like Target now. I know, like I've started to see like Targets and Walmarts carry like Japanese like SH Figu Arts figures, not just like the Anime Stars ones or the McFarlane ones, but like actual and I'm just like, what? That's so
Best
weird.
Buy is too, and Best Buy.
Best Buy is one of them. Best Buy is I knew there was one I was forgetting. That's who I was trying to think of.
Yeah, it's crazy that Best Buy is carrying more and more of them, and they're like really good quality, and they'll discount
it's just crazy that not just Best Buy, it's just any physical retailer here in the US. Because I remember like when I was a kid, I remember being super young, 10, 11, 12, 13. And if you wanted anything from Japan, you either had to pay out the butt and go through a lot of complicated steps to order it off of eBay or through a delivery service from Japan, or you had to wait until you went to at least for me, like San Diego Comic-Con, because that was the big one. So everybody would bring everything. Then when I got into high school, it got better, and there were more like comic book stores starting to carry that stuff and like one or two anime stores, but it was still really specialized. And now I'm going around and there they are. They're just like super right there for kids to grab. And I'm just like, you whippersnappers have it so easy.
I know, it's not fair because I like, what was it, like 5, 6 or 7 years ago, I was importing my merch from Japan. And even going to conventions to get my stuff, and now they're like at Marshall, so I'm like, and now I can't afford it, and I'm like, I could get stuff for like under $20, and I can't even afford to get it right now.
So, such is the life of being an adult. It is the time when you have access to everything, but no money for anything.
I know, it sucks.
So we do have the Gundam on screen here from this new GU. We'll find out how to pronounce it soon.
Gundam cucks. That's what
Yeah.
I've been calling it.
The G Girls suit. That's a little easier. So the G Girls suit, and so as you can see, it's very different. It diverges away from most Gundam traditions. The only thing it really preserves here is kind of the goatee that the Gundam has. Even the V fin has been divorced from that. I'd say that probably the most extreme change from the V fin was Barbados, who decided to turn it into handlebars,
Yeah.
and that was kind of fun. That it had this
Whoa,
giant
but
V
when
fin.
Gundam put 2, like that was the
Well,
big
no, the
change.
V fin's always sort of stayed to the V fin. It's
No,
Barbados that
no.
spread it
What
out into like horn.
I was just making a stupid joke because
Oh,
before
yeah.
Barbados, the biggest change was when the Wing Gundam gets like the 2 little ones on
Oh,
the
yeah.
crest to like make it a double V.
Oh, that's right. It's special. And so this one divorces itself from that. It doesn't even have the V fin colored gold. Typically, the colored V fin is for a villain Gundam or a secondary Gundam. That the main hero Gundam usually has a gold V fin. So this is a new one. You'll note that it does have the main camera still at the center of the V fin, which is a good decision. There's a lot of verniers here, is what you're looking at. These little balls over there on the shoulders there that have these holes in them. These appear to be like a directional vernier to allow the ship, the Gundam to move in space in a more dynamic parkour kind of way, I guess.
Yeah.
And also the barrels that are facing us, you see these holes that are facing us, these are guns. So what you see here is that these will switch back and forth and up and down. You see these channels that are up on the shoulder tops. That's meant to allow that barrel to come through and fire with a clear line of shot in multiple directions. So this is very much built for zero-G combat is what I'm trying to get at. This is very much built to be out there in space having an absolute like ass of a time beating the paint off of other machines.
And we're talking like, woo, like going upside down.
Exactly.
And spinning and all that fun stuff.
Expect the
Spider-Man in
extreme
space.
expect the extreme giant robots physics we were seeing in Evangelion to be present here. So you'll probably see the pilots in some of the first episodes barfing because of the extreme G forces and things like that. And so I do want to let everybody know that Jacob's all right. He did survive. We have people in the chat asking for us to pray for Jacob. They're asking if Jacob was alive, if we had him somewhere in a basement somewhere, a closet perhaps. So as you can see, Jacob's alive is a proof of life. All right, you can stop asking. He's cool.
This is AI video.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason Jacob wasn't here is because we're not allowed to do DEI anymore under Trump. So that's why we had to get rid of it.
Hello, my name is 404 error not found.
Beep, beep, beep.
Before we get into like the Marvel and stuff like that,
yeah.
Before we get into Marvel, because look, I've been listening to this show for the last hour and 47 minutes, and I am completely flabbergasted how you guys absolutely buried the lead story of
because
the
we
entire
needed
day.
you. We needed you.
But like, I really, because this has been bothering me for like the last like 5 minutes or so, is the whole thing that's happening with Chibi reviews.
Oh.
I was trying.
You'll have to walk us through it because like even I am not like caught up on this episode. I know that I know the one from earlier this year with Dan. I don't know what's going on now, and I don't know why they won't leave him alone.
Okay, so I posted the link in the chat. So Chibi Reviews launched a Give Send Go so that he could pay for a lawyer to sue the people that doxed him last year over the Dan stuff. And now people are attacking him for it. And it is ridiculous. He is setting the goal for the fund for $25,000 for the legal fees and everything like that. And it is insane. People are sending death still. They're just giving him all this evidence to just, like for him to sue them. They're proving his point. I don't know why these people are that stupid. They're doing it all for clout.
It takes talent.
It does. And they're just he's
Double
doing
down,
this.
baby. Double down.
It's more than doubling down. They're like quadrupling down on this. And he's setting it for like he said straight up that he's doing this because if he doesn't, then he does pursue this, he would go bankrupt. So he's doing then it's more this point at this point it's more about pride than anything else, and also these people can't get away with this.
Well, I mean, I guess I wish him luck. I don't really know what to add to that because it seems like it's just it seemed like it's just going to be, you know, Chibi has his haters and they're going to always be hating on him. And I know it gets ridiculous, and it sucks and my heart goes out to him. But like, I don't know, Nerdigan's like, what should I take away from this? Because like I don't know what to do. Like, this is just sort of like we can call it out, but they're going to keep coming. What do you recommend? What do you think?
Well, if you see anyone do like this is just beyond Chibi, period. Is if you see anyone doing this, just report them. And like obviously if you want to if you are I'm part of Chibi follows me now, so I send this stuff to him anyway. Because like this just means that there's more evidence anyway for him to use it against in his case. If you can donate to him, I wish I could, but I can't. I am in my own financial problems. But if you want to help him with this case to take down these people, that would be amazing. And if he does manage to succeed, then because Jacob knows this as well, that Tommy Sotomayor has been dealing with this a lot longer than Chibi has, and that it's a lot worse than what Chibi has had to deal with. I mean, like he had his haters sent people to his grandmother's house because they advertised like a yard sale or something, or not a yard sale, that everything must go from his grandmother's house when she was still alive, and like a bunch of Mexicans went over there and took stuff from her house. It was insane. Like that's how insane people are. But Chibi hasn't gotten that far. And you're on mute, Jacob.
People need to go outside and play the asteroid game. You know what the asteroid game is? Is that you take a big giant rock, you throw it up in the air, you try to hit your face with it. That's what they should go out and do. Just play the asteroid game.
Oh,
that genuinely sounds like a game like poor people would teach their kids. Like that sounds like something my dad would have told me to go play.
Mm-hmm. Beware the falling rocks.
See how many rocks you can dodge in an hour, and then top it the next hour.
You know, that's what 7-year-olds like to do. They just try to find creative ways to kill themselves at a young age.
But still, as I said, if you see these people, just especially they're mostly burner accounts, just report
I know that's
them.
a big problem.
I wish Elon would do something about it, but like
it's one of those things where it's like you can't really, unfortunately, like legislate it away. Like unless he went, everybody, if you want to make an account, provide your ID. And no matter how much you like Elon,
the only thing that he's going to be able to
platform
do
is gone.
The only thing he's going to be able to do is win in court. That's all he has on his table at this point. So it is what it is.
Well, the moderation team should be doing better at Twitter. It's more a moderation team problem at Twitter. That's the problem.
Good luck with that one. I mean,
but no, let's be real. That's the real problem on Twitter, is that the moderation team is not doing a good job of taking people that are sending death threats off or doing IP bans or anything like that. That's the real problem.
Well, but again, Nerdigans, like all of that stuff is so easily circumventable. Like an IP ban, I can grab a VPN for 20 cents and go to a new IP, right? Like there's not a lot of moderation
VPNs for 20 cents. You can give me a link.
I mean, I clearly like, you know, sold out to some like weird Russian Chinese spyware. I know that.
All of a sudden, Spence is like,
saved some money.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
We need to talk about this. We absolutely need to talk about this. If you guys saw my Twitter earlier today, I literally posted under this tagline right here, is this an early April Fool's joke? Because this is a movie trailer for a film that is exclusive to Amazon.
Dude, this is
Amazon Prime put money into this, like real dollars, not Monopoly money.
Let me preface this before you keep going, because this will help sell like what you're about to say, because I know where you're going with this. Everybody out there, before we get into this, I want to make it clear. You guys know me, and you know that when it comes to things like this, I am unfortunately the wet towel sometimes, and I go, hey, there's this and that, you know, maybe the writer, maybe the story. Not here, dude. Yeah, not here. This is literally, I saw this and I just went, oh man. Like I I did like the hand clasp. I was like, oh man. So
This is
Jacob,
when
take
I
it
saw the
away.
trailer for this, it was literally like a real 100% legit. It has never been more over than it is right now. Like angle when I saw this. This is a movie called
You're building this
G20.
up a lot.
Oh, we can't build it up enough. Like, do you know this yet, Cider? 'Cause
Quite
Cider
obviously
doesn't-
not.
Oh,
You
well,
know.
I'm just double checking. I didn't know if you were like, you're building it up too much, and I know what it is, because like
No, I have no clue.
Okay,
You're
okay.
scaring me. Like, geez,
So
do I
this
need a
is
helmet
a
for
movie-
this?
This
The
is a
writers
real
might-
movie. I have to reference this. This is not an April Fool's joke. This is not a Super Bowl commercial. This is a real film. It is an action thriller starring Viola Davis. Yes, the Woman King is back. She was the
Amanda
Meemaw
Waller
King about
herself.
3 years ago. And now they put a 60-year-old black woman in the front face of this movie where she is playing the President of the United States.
Again.
Things go wrong when terrorists take over a G20 summit, and it is up to her to save the entire world, quite literally Chuck Norris style. So I'm gonna go ahead and just play the trailer for you. It's a bit of a trailer, but it is an experience. That's the best thing that I can describe
really
this
is.
film. Because just when you think you face palmed hard enough, you realize that you have not. It gets worse.
There's the ending stinger, like big scene they put in, Jacob. You know which one I'm talking about. Up until that point, I was like, this is really dumb. And then we got there, and I just went, oh, this is just straight up retarded. Like, this is bad.
No, yeah. So here we go. This is G20.
Madam
Amazon.
President, we have a situation.
This alone should just tell. Oh God, gee. Okay, let me just rewind here back for a second. This alone should tell you that Jeff Bezos has entirely too much money to burn.
Timon says this movie should have been called Davos Has Fallen.
Would have been
That's
better.
good.
Like, yeah.
Exactly right. Somebody get Elon
Funded
on
by
this.
USAID to get Elon on it immediately.
This movie, unironically, like, I want to see, because remember, you know how like Kamala fundraised $1,004 and it all like kind of disappeared, and now she's in debt and has to pay it back. I feel like some of it might have been going to fund this, because this feels like a movie that was sort of supposed to be made as like the hell yeah, we won, losers, Kamala 2024, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, right.
Why
This
did
is
they
how
set
our
themselves
president
up?
For a minute there, I don't know why.
Why
I read
did they
Raboul's
set
comment.
themselves up like
I read
this?
Raboul's comment as like work from home has fallen, and I don't know why I found that so funny.
Well, for Ubisoft people, it has. Well, for government workers, I
Well,
found that out.
that's
to be
fine for
pretty-
Ubisoft. There's only like 4 of them left.
That's true. Speaking of 4,
So another thing I want to throw out here before we even get into it. I know I only played like 3 seconds of this, but you really have to understand
okay.
how bad this is.
Yeah.
This is a film that was written by not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 screenwriters combined to write this movie. 4 of them. And the director of this film, Patricia Reagan is her name. I literally cannot tell you a single thing that she has ever done in her entire life to warrant her being given a Amazon movie, which looks like they spent some pretty significant money on here. The only credit that she's given here is that she was in something called Under the Same Moon that came out in like 2007. I don't even know if that's an American movie or not. And somehow she was also in a film called Lemonade Mouth, which was a Disney movie from 2011. So I don't know how she got this job. You can figure that out yourself. But she's the director here, so
all right, let's find out.
yeah. Anthony Anderson and Viola
Of
Davis
course.
being a power couple in this film.
Dennis
There's a lot
Leary.
going on here, people. There's a lot going on here. In case you didn't realize, yes, that is the dude who plays Homelander in The Boys, Anthony Starr, who is the villain of this film. So,
And the
like
only
I
cool
said,
thing, even the only cool thing I can even say about that is at least we get to hear his like natural accent, and that's about all. Like, that's the coolest thing.
Looks like
That's it.
Dennis Leary is attacking Viola Davis.
oh boy, like I said, it get worse.
He has no time.
That's the point,
Yeah,
I
right.
think.
Like,
They like-
yeah. Oh, probably. You're probably right.
It was like Nomad Cap, right? That was the point where he had given up on America because of what happened at the raft, right?
It's like
So it
Chris
was like
Evans
Nomad
and Chris
Cap,
Hemsworth, the fusion dance, and that's
Yeah, and then an even, but they did it wrong, so the lame version came out.
yeah. They did
Somebody
the
had their
finger in the
pinky
fist.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
literally did the "come with me if you want to live."
Great.
I went, holy
Yeah, right.
crap. I don't even know, man. Like, it's so bad.
It's like, can you imagine like you're watching this on the security footage, right? You're just and all of a sudden, like she's like, you can see it's like up here, and like all the sag, the gross, all of that's just right there. You can see it. All the matching underwear, lacy panty stuff's right there. You're a security guard, and she's just beating the ass off of these guys with all that happening, like doing all these flips and shit. You're just like, it's really cool, but
no, you're doing a great job. Just a little higher. Go a little higher.
Why is she smelling gasoline?
It's like when Otacon died. You remember when Otacon died? And it's just like, are you there? Otacon! And he's just barfing in the trash.
Someone's grandma just jumped through the roof of an elevator smelling like cocoa butter and Vaseline.
The police see this and they're like, what happened here?
The only positive this is gonna have is for like old black like grandparents.
Is this the Buffy reboot?
Anthony Anderson, that was actually Allison Hannigan's character. What's her name? What was her name?
Willow.
Yeah, Willow. That was Willow. Anthony Anderson was Willow.
That's Dawn, little sister.
But yeah, the moment I saw Viola Davis, I was, when they set it up, I went, there's no way they're actually gonna have her do like the stealth drop in, beat everybody, like maybe she'll throw something down there, maybe she left like a trap. No, dude, they had her do the Captain America like elevator fight, and I'm just like, what do you even say to this? Like, it feels like it's honestly, this feels like if what are they? The Daily Wire tried to make one of their dumb like comedy movies as a parody of like what they think woke people would make.
Yes,
that's
right.
What this feels like. Legitimately, that's what this feels like. But
they called up Ben Shapiro, and they're like, how would you make fun of a black woman president? He's like, okay, so the first thing I would do is I would have her come down into the elevator.
No, even better, because Amazon owns WAPO, right? So there's probably like, maybe there was like a WAPO reporter talking to Ben, and they like put that question forward, and there was just some guy behind him who works for like Amazon Prime who's like, what? This is gold.
Write that down. Write that down.
This is gold. Yeah, exactly. This is gold. This is gold. Gold, Jerry. Gold.
So we gotta watch the rest
this
of it.
Is this is for those of you guys who are in our age range. This is the Wacky Deli of films. You guys remember the old Rocco's Modern Life Wacky Deli episodes. So there was an old cartoon called Rocco's Modern Life, probably the best Nickelodeon cartoon of all time. And there was an episode where what was it, Ed Bighead's nephew's son? I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I don't remember.
He wanted to get out of his contract. He figured that letting Rocco and his friends write the show, that he would be so bad that he would get fired. And then they just gave him a renewal because everyone loved the show. And then at the very end, he tries to write his own artistic piece, and it gets canceled immediately. So, we're one of the best episodes. By the way, there's still more. There's like a minute left of this whole thing.
Yeah,
we gotta go.
Space on a grill. What?
This jacked up like South African mercenary just got beaten hand-to-hand combat by a 60-year-old black woman.
There's this post that's been going around on Twitter of like this, I don't know where he's from. He's like in Ukraine or Serbia or something, but it's just this dude who's like jacked, got no neck, like really big head, and everybody's like, this is the like, body type that used to conquer, nations or whatever. That's what this is like. This dude is like a Hungarian barbarian, and Viola Davis easily like
there is not a universe in the multiverse where this guy is losing to Viola Davis in hand-to-hand combat.
He has easily 200 pounds. Yeah,
exactly.
It's like that clip you showed us of the Big Show falling over onto that guy. And it's like, even if he got knocked out and fell over on her, he would kill her. So
Like, I'm sorry, but if you let a 60-year-old woman put you face
Like
first
Leslie
on a grill
Jones
like
might
this,
have a fight. You know what I mean? Leslie Jones might be able to take him.
that and she's legitimately insane. So I mean, it's
Right?
weird fighting crazy
Somebody's
people. Right?
insane.
I was about to say, I could believe Leslie gets like one good fight scene where if she's just like
Yeah.
wilding out, like, wow! I'm like, she's got one.
Leslie Jones says she's on that Wakandan juice.
They may have her be the next Black Panther in the movie. Who knows?
Yeah, Grandma Black Panther.
With how good Captain America's doing, probably.
Oh my god.
We'll get there.
No, wait, we will get there. We will get there.
Well, considering how Demi Moore looks right now, I mean, I know we're talking about a black woman in her 60s, but it's like, dude, if Demi Moore can look like that and she's like, what, in her 50s, getting into her 60s?
I think she's already in her 60s.
Yeah, she's in her 60s. She looks like she's in her like 50s though, man.
How dare you say that of the woman king? How dare you?
Mm-hmm. Humbamba!
Like what I'm saying is, I can believe Demi Moore like whooping this guy's ass over Viola Davis.
It's both ridiculous.
I wouldn't believe Demi Moore either. But like, it's all this again. It's the thing that we always complain about this, right? Like, okay, you're having 12 12-pound women like wiping the floor and not just like we've seen, back in the day.
Like this is a woman who's legitimately at an age where a fall might kill her. Like,
right?
Let's be very clear. You're at that age, lady. I hate to break this to you.
Jamie Foxx, right? Jamie Foxx was president in the what are those, like the Olympus Has Fallen or whatever it was, right? With Gerard Butler. He's way more fit. He's way more, I would believe more Jamie Foxx could win a fight. A, he didn't fight in that movie until like the very end when he just held a gun. And B, like that movie was like, Mr. President, I am Gerard Butler, your bodyguard. That's the point. You're the president. You don't do this stuff.
By the way, somebody mentioned, I think it was Hey It's Me, was mentioning that Queen Latifah show on CBS, The Equalizer, the female spinoff. That Queen Latifah looks like Steven Seagal doing like his best Sean Strickland impersonation, and it's like, how has this been going on for several years?
There's a clip going around right now of her. I guess it's from like a recent season fighting like a group of like 3 or 4 guys. You've probably seen the same one, and I watched it, and I got the Steven Seagal like feeling, and I had the exact same reaction. I was like, this is still going. And my takeaway was like,
it's literally the Steven Seagal. It's like, you stand in front of a camera, you throw a couple of punches, and then we'll gerrymander some stunt doubles in there to make it seem like you're the one actually fighting. And then the only time we see your face is like you going like this.
Yeah. It's just like there exists an entire other world out there, right? Like there exists such a large audience where seeing Queen Latifah do a ridiculous fight and then do a generic black lady quip, that is crack to them. I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna.
No, I tell you what,
but I don't know, man.
If this was Viola Davis versus Steven Seagal in a movie, I might actually believe it at that point. Like, you brought me down to a level where I might actually believe that she can beat Steven Seagal. Present day Steven Seagal.
Well, the question is, does he have the backup of his chair, or is he actually standing up? Because if he's standing up, she's the winner. But the chair, that's where he's in his peak.
There's still more.
President Danielle Sutton. You get around, don't you?
I'll get around to you too. Mom, I can help. Lights up.
Find her.
Where
the daughter's a hacker.
God, she put on a bulletproof.
The young daughter is the super tech genius. Awesome.
Oh, I gotta get this screenshot here because this is hilarious.
Look at this
she put on like one of those like 50-cent like bulletproof vests.
Find her.
Yeah, look at I love that she's about to start the film.
Got the gloves on too. Like
get rich or die trying.
That reminds me, just before we keep going, that reminds me of how when 50 Cent made his game, the like Blood in the Sand or whatever, if you bought the like special edition, it came with like the game case came with a little bulletproof vest like that it was wearing. It was awesome.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Where are my husband and kids?
We're all here together.
I'm gonna get you out of here.
Like literally just on the nose to everything that we're like parody, but genuinely serious.
So Richard
this would be hilarious if this is like an SNL trailer.
Right.
So Richard asks, who is this made for? And so I want to bring up this new genre that kind of popped up about, I want to say about 8 years ago. Maybe it was 14 now, but it's called the Geezer Teaser. For me, I call it the Geezer Pleaser because
like
what this
that.
is it takes old man characters, like it's the Expendables.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like people who
It's
have no
Taken,
business.
it's Expendables,
Right.
it's
People who
yeah.
otherwise should just be kind of like chilling out with the Weather Channel, going out there and murdering
Gran
people half their
Torino.
age because young people don't know any better. And that's the moral of the story is that young people are dumb and weak. And the older you get, the stronger and smarter and more capable you get. And that's how that goes. You certainly don't end up in diapers. That never happens. And so that's who this is made for. It's made for old lady. I don't know what to call this because like there's no like euphemism that really rhymes well with grandma to express that it's an action film at the same time. So like I you know I can't even rhyme grandma with another word really. So it's kind of, but that's what it is that it's the Geezer Teaser for your grandma who still believes that in the event her family is threatened, that she can spring down from an elevator, revealing her panties to a group of South African mercenaries, and then murder them on a grill top in the kitchen. You know,
See,
so
I will slightly counter that because yes, you know, the Geezer Teaser, like that is a genuine thing. We've all seen it, but I don't think this, you know, there isn't necessarily a female directed audience for that, right? There's not a lot of like the older women who are like, I want to watch, you know, a super badass do this super badass thing. It exists, but they also, you know, get their fixes from things like, you know, superhero stuff or like CW shows with like vampires and all that sort of stuff. So what this was made as the essentially like the what do you want to call it? Like the neoliberal version of that, right? Like, oh, all those old guys really love, you know, these geezer features. Let's do it for, you know, women. This is her time. So who do we pick? Viola Davis. She's the Academy Award winner. People know her. Like that's all of this is just it doesn't.
By the way, just
it's
real
written
quick,
for Kamala voters.
They also got the guy who plays Agent Colston in this film too, so he's going to be in this movie as well.
He always pops up in like
this is
really
a real
random
poster
places.
for the film. This is not well, who knows? It may be AI, but it's also a real
no. This
poster
is
for the movie.
yeah.
Oh no, this is AI. This is absolutely AI. You can tell by how smooth she is. That human body doesn't work like that. So you also take a look at that. Take a look at what's going on with her arm. What's going on there with the arm? That's flexed, right? That's flexed. They want to make sure that you know that she's tough and buff. So what they did is they had the AI generate this picture, and I guarantee you go in here and you check these stripes. That's not the right amount of stripes that go on the flag. That looks like it's about 6 off. Way too many stripes on the flag there. And again, what they did is they used that face replace that I use to make our intros.
Yeah.
And it just face replaced the AI of the female president of the United States, muscular badass, African-American woman, badass. Explosion in the background. And they just rendered and rendered and rendered and rendered and rendered till they got it. Then they slapped her face on that. And they're like, movie poster, pay me $1 million. And they did. And they did.
It's just
this is embarrassing on a
it's so embarrassing. Like
they knew. Like here's the thing,
Lethal
they're
Mima.
very clever.
There it is, Lethal Mima.
they already made that movie. It was with Sylvester Stallone. It was called My Mom's Got a Gun. Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Whatever it was.
Don't stop or my mom will shoot. That's right. Yeah. Don't stop or my president will shoot.
It's like, well, you ask like who's the target audience for this. The target audience is the people behind the scenes making this movie. They're the target audience. They only want to make a movie that they can parade around and clap amongst their friends. If you guys recall, what was it, about 2-3 years ago, they came out with The Woman King, and it was a movie with Viola Davis pretending that the slave traders in Africa were actually the good guys, and a bunch of women basically took down the French single-handedly, even though that's not what happened at all in history whatsoever. In the course of this, that was a film that had like a $50 million budget. It only made $96 million. So yeah, it was pretty much a flop at the box office by every metric available. So here we have a movie that, okay, we're not going to put it in movie theaters. We're going to put it on Amazon Prime. That way, the first week we can say, oh, look at how many people watched this garbage and make it seem like
number one streaming series or whatever.
I mean, honestly, when I look at the production credits of like who made this movie, I see 4 names of people who wrote this film. 3 of
Oh
them
my.
don't even have Wikipedia pages, which should tell you everything. Another woman who
guys, I hate to interrupt you. We got the name.
That might be
Menopause
the best.
Impossible.
The Menopause
That
Impossible.
might
There it
actually be
is.
the best
That's the
one.
name.
That might
Menopause
actually be the best
Impossible.
one.
But no, it's like we've talked about this many times before, especially after watching She-Hulk. We look at who is writing these movies, who is directing these movies, who's qualified to be running the show here, and you can't find a single thing that any of these people have done in their entire existence that be like, oh yeah, this person is qualified to write a major motion picture, this person is qualified to direct a major motion picture.
So when you were bringing that up, I went to IMDb because I was like, who wrote this? Were there any She-Hulk writers on it? There weren't, but the lead writer is a woman by the name of Caitlin Parrish, and she's got 2 co-writers. They were the writers for that movie White Boy Rick, if you guys remember it. That was the like Matthew McConaughey movie about it's like the real life story about the kid in like the 1970s who became like an FBI informant on like the drug trade or whatever. It was all right. It wasn't half bad. But they co-wrote the film with this woman, Caitlin Parrish. Caitlin Parrish has all the like, she's clearly the lead writer because she's got the most credits. Her biggest credit, 30 episodes of fucking Supergirl.
Oh God.
Supergirl.
So she's literally
she didn't even write Arrow. She wrote Supergirl.
So she's literally a CW writer.
Well, she also wrote Under the Dome. Emily Owens, MD. Which, yes, these are all CW shows. So, yes.
I mean, I would say that this looks like a CW quality show, but that might be an insult to the CW. Like, I think that they would be offended by being associated with whatever the hell this is. And then, like I said, the director here, who's a woman called Patricia, was it Riggin? Literally could not point you to a single thing that she's ever done of any importance whatsoever. She's another essentially person who's wrote like maybe 1 episode of like a TV show that you may have seen somewhere at some point in time
that rigged her way into a position.
Yeah. Like her biggest credit is probably apparently she directed 3 episodes of that Jack Ryan show with what's his face? Emily Blunt's husband.
Mr. Fantastic, Jim Krasinski, John Krasinski.
John Krasinski, yeah.
Jim in the Office.
Apparently, she directed 3 of those episodes, and that somebody said, "Hey, you wanna direct a feature length movie that's gonna be you think you're qualified for this? Well, here you go." And then this is how we got these films. So it's like there in no way, shape, or form, or is Hollywood putting any effort into the stuff that they're releasing to you. They're just regurgitating garbage to you at this point. So if you ever
they're regurgitating garbage, and it's like you pointed out, right? They're not writing for anybody but themselves. They're sitting here going like, heck yeah. Again, like I said at the beginning, this movie was clearly written by people who thought Kamala was going to win, and then they wanted to drop this as their sort of like, boom, that's right, we win, ha ha ha. Support,
this is a Yes Queen
ladies.
Slay movie.
Exactly.
This is for the Yes Queen Slays. So
well, I don't know, Nerdigans, does this appeal to you?
No.
She's not a Yes Queen Slay.
She's at least a queen.
Yes Queen Slay, yeah, but this doesn't slay, and this is a no queen.
Yeah, because she's the woman king. Get it? So it's be Yes King Slay.
Full
this
circle.
is no King Slay either.
But
yeah, so though this is a real movie that is set to come out in 2 months. No, God knows how long this is going to be, and this looks like a stone cold lead pipe lock of a film that should be in the top 10 worst movies of this entire year. And if it's not, we are in deep trouble.
And we're only in February.
You're gonna forget about it because guess what? As soon as you finish watching this one, you can roll over into watching this one.
Celebrate more Black excellence.
The ratings are out. I just want to say the ratings are out. Captain America Brave New World gets a 54% from 41 reviewers who are allegedly friendly. Remember how they changed Rotten Tomatoes so that friendly stuff was shown off before anything good, reliable rather, was shown? So
well, there's that, and if you actually go and look at the Rotten Tomatoes page, remember, guys, like Rotten Tomatoes is very, very gratuitous, liberal, shall we say, with what counts as a positive review. So you have ones like, you know, here's one, the very first top one that I clicked on reviews, first one that's fresh. The excerpt quote, it's Joanna Langfield from some place called the Movie Minute. This one gets the job done as long as all you're asking is to move the story along and set us up for yet more of the franchise. That's a positive review to them. Like it is not this 54.
Let me give it an 8 out of 10, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like that's what they're qualifying it as, when in reality the reviewer's probably like, it's a 1, if they even give it that. But like this 54 you're seeing here, right now it's back at 54. Throughout the day, it's been going down and like battling up. I saw it hit 49 earlier. So
somebody at Disney was like, release the Shield reviews. We need these
exactly.
to go back up.
Let them out. Let them out.
So the problem is that we're going to run into more things like this with this movie, because we are watching a trend now. I believe it was Nerdigans that posted this in the in our chat here. As you can see, Captain America: Brave New World took a dramatic drop after Chris Evans was no longer Captain America.
I was about to say, what could have changed at the course of these films?
Truthfully, I think the biggest problem with this was, and I'm not trying to be like a sandbag on like the Captain America: Brave New World sucks. When we're looking at this from like a purely marketing standpoint, there was never an official. There was the Shield handoff, but we did not see Sam in his Captain America White Eagle costume there. In a mainstream production. We saw him.
I would
in
have
Disney
to push
Plus
back
one.
on that slightly, because
second,
in the eyes of the Disney executives, you should have already seen Captain America and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. So
Falcon
they're
and the Winter
assuming
Soldier,
that you've already watched that series before going into this movie.
Correct.
So
Which
in their
is the
minds, he's
dumbest-
already established, when in reality he's not.
It's rule number 1 in marketing to assume that nobody looking at this has any idea what you're talking about. And that's rule number 1. So they've already failed that. And I would say that in the biggest mistake they've made. Now, this movie, again, still going to be a problem all on its own. I'm not trying to write it off on all the other problems. The biggest mistake they made was not showing Sam in his White Eagle costume after Steve gives him the shield. After he says, "No, I don't think I will," Sam should have shown up in that White Eagle costume, and a good 4 minutes of him doing right should have been shown, where he was actually ushered in officially on the big silver screen as the new Captain America, instead of it being implied. We should not have been seeing that costume on a TV show. That costume should have, I love that costume. I do. I know that Sam isn't popular as Captain America, but I really enjoy that suit on him. I really do. I really think that Mackie wears it well too. I know people don't like the headpiece part, but I do. I think it really complements Mackie's facial structure.
He gave an interview recently where he was like, I hated it, but only he's like, I liked how it looked, but the problem was when it was like stuck, like when he had it on, because of like we're our human bodies, we're not comic book characters, it like the heat from it would fog up the goggles, so he had to like take it all off every like cut. So he's like, it was just annoying.
Because they're costume
that's when the costume
guys are
designers.
stupid.
Yeah, 100%.
Because paintballers have those micro fans to do just that, because they're sealed inside their mask all the time. It's right there. The text right there.
You can't put one of those fans in volume. All right.
Right. Exactly. And it makes too much noise. That's the thing. So really, like, this probably could have been a 62% had they introduced Captain America to us in that last Avengers movie that we saw everybody together, the Endgame movie. Had they actually given us that 4 minutes of Sam being the Captain America that we're intended to receive him as now, but they didn't. So everybody's seeing him in this role, and they're like, "Whoa, where did you come from? What's this costume? Why are you pretending to be Steve Rogers? What's all this dramatic stuff you've got going on with this interpolitical thing? Why is Harrison Ford the president? Why is he a Hulk?" And they're expecting.
We haven't even seen we haven't even seen like Thunderbolt Ross, like when William hurt Thunderbolt Ross since like what, Civil War?
It was Civil War was the last time that he had any major role in this.
Oh, wait, I think he shows up in the very beginning of Black Widow for like a cameo.
Major role.
That's it.
That's the last time we had was a major role with Civil War.
Civil War,
He wasn't even an Endgame.
Yeah, so you like people are gonna go, who's that? And then just to speak more to like what you two were saying, for these movie going audiences, they're going to go from, here's the shield and Sam like, whoa, this is crazy, to, oh, Sam is in the sky flying. He's got a suit. He's already Captain America. And that's going to go, what? Like anything? And like, yes, the way we got the MCU now, I'm sure a lot of you out there are probably like, oh, where would we have had the time to interject that, thing of Sam being Captain America? Well, it's not that hard. You pull a Spider-Verse, right? Where, remember, like the end of the first Spider-Verse is a montage of Miles being better, like at his job and, doing a voiceover. Just do that with Sam. You could have had that set up like, oh, we have to move forward without the Avengers. How do we do that? Da, da, da. Something could have been done there. But instead, it was all those corporate decisions that went, oh, we set up Bucky for these last like 12 years. Never mind. We're going with Sam.
And then we got the Chinese censorship because
as fantastic as always.
Yep. China's like, it's really cool that you have a black Captain America, but we're not putting that in an advertisement. So
at first, when I first saw this, I genuinely thought that it was like a cutout spot. And that was like the whole point, was like you're supposed to go stand like behind it or in front of it and like shield. But then, I've seen more pictures of angles and stuff. And I'm like, oh, no. That's not 3D. That is just like a standee poster where they just cut out Sam, like 100%.
The implication,
they couldn't do the thing that some movie posters do nowadays, where they've like put 3D elements in it, like to put the shield popping out so you could actually take a picture. They just went, they just hit lighten on Photoshop, literally.
That's the thing that we're looking at here, is that you're supposed to strike the pose to match that, to be in the picture as Captain America, right? But the problem is this is in China. So there's nobody's gonna do that because the CCP does not like this. So it's like one of those honeypots where like, do you want your social credit score to go down? Do you really want it to go down? Really?
It looks like someone did like a shadow outline of like Vince McMahon from 20 years ago.
That's true. That could have been what it was.
Anthony Mackie whatsoever.
No, that's not Anthony Mackie. That is 100% Simu Liu wearing a jacket.
Do you know what would be absolutely hysterical? That in the Chinese cut of this film, it literally, instead of like showing Anthony Mackie, it's just a big red outline throughout the entire film. They just literally just shouted out his entire character throughout the entire movie.
I don't know, like that reminds me of the Black Panther photo or poster where they did him in the suit, but then they had his eyes open, and I don't know why that image is so funny to me, because it's like you went all that way to cover him up, but then you still let his eyes out as if it was like no, look, we're still showing him, he's black, and it's like, no, I see what you're doing, China.
I can't find the meme right now, but there was a clip from an early comedy show from the 90s where there were these guys out in like the Sahara, and they were meeting some black tribal leaders, some African tribal leaders, and they go to shake hands, and the camera cuts away, and it shows two white men shaking hands, and then it cuts back to them letting go, the black and white man letting go of each other's hand, like mid let go.
Yeah,
and it's one of those subtle races. So that's what's gonna happen, is that every time Anthony Mackie goes to touch an Asian man, it cuts to two Asian men embracing each other, and then when they've stopped touching, it cuts back to Anthony Mackie and the Asian man in the movie. So they.
Oh, glory to leadership!
Right. It's just Xi Jinping going,
Yeah.
Because they do that. They have a sign that says no Africans allowed. They do that. They have signs everywhere on these hotels, on these malls. It's horrible.
At this point, it's legitimately more entertaining to take bad movies and come up with ways to make them significantly worse. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Well, with this one, like I legitimately don't know how much worse you get off of this, right? Like
they took that challenge seriously.
This is a sequel, from everything we've heard. So we'll probably get into like light spoilers here. I don't think any of us have seen it. I've read a bunch of stuff that's leaked. Yeah, I saw the post-credit scene. Just in case there's one or two people out there who for some reason still want that surprise, we're going to talk spoilers, whatever. But this movie was like if you look at all the creative decisions, you went, oh, let's make a sequel to Eternals and Incredible Hulk, which like the two lowest rated films that like nobody cares about. I like Hulk. It has its moments, but the objective fact is like not a lot of people do. Like the mainstream audience really doesn't like that one. So you make that movie, then you do it as a sequel to a Disney Plus show that nobody really watched. Then you reshoot it 4 times. then you remove like, so I don't remember like, how do I say this? If you guys remember early on, we had exactly right here. Early on, when Brave New World started filming, we got a bunch of set leaks that showed Seth Rollins was going to be in the movie as the King Cobra of the Serpent Society, longtime Cap group of villains. And then Rosa Salazar, who you guys will all know as Alita from the Alita movie, she was supposed to be Diamondback, the pink-haired, sometimes ally of Cap, sometimes enemy, Serpent Society member, blah, blah, blah. So they just out of nowhere, well, it's not out of nowhere. If you guys read this article from last week, Seth Rollins had an interview, and he was asked, like, hey, what's up with Captain America? Are you in it? And he went, no, I'm straight up not in it. I don't know what happened, but if you're going to go to this movie looking for me, you're not going to find me. And then the director had an interview like the next day where he was like, oh yeah, the reason, he basically
he was like, who's that?
No, he kind of crapped on Seth, and it felt weird because he was like, the interviewer was like, so what was up with like the decision to cut Seth and replace him with Giancarlo? And he was like, well, as you know, movie making is a process. So as we were going through, we were still writing, we were still trying to find the flow of everything, and just nothing was working. Nothing was like landing. And then I got a call that said, I had originally wanted to work with Giancarlo for something else. And then I got a call that said, hey, my schedule opened up. And I said, immediately, there we go. That's what we have to do. So like, I read that as like, oh, it was not working with Seth. And so they immediately went like, can I get anybody better, like, please? And they got Giancarlo. Now I don't know anything about Seth as like a performer and actor, because
I do.
Yeah, you do. I was literally going to say, like, well, I'm going to turn it over to my man who knows what he's talking about.
Two things here. One, it's really kind of hilarious. First of all, I don't think anyone really respects Seth Rollins. I'm just going to say it out there. First of all, he was at a Lakers game, I want to say, or Clippers game, one of those two, about 2 or 3 weeks ago with his wife, Becky Lynch, who's also a WWE wrestler. And the headlines of that one, and I shit you not, they said that, oh, it's Becky Lynch and a date. They've been married for like 4 years. They're just referred to him as date. By the way, he's actually actively on the show. He was the main event of the Netflix show that they did about a month ago, and they just referred to him as date. So it's like, they have no respect for this guy whatsoever. He's so low on the totem pole. And then it's also kind of funny because now that he's been officially cut out of this film, Becky Lynch, who was also set to appear in Eternals several years ago, was also cut out of that movie. So both of them were WWE. Both of them were WWE superstars, thinking that, oh, this is our break to the big time. We're going to be in Marvel MCU films. Both of them got cut out of their respective roles.
And you know that like Kevin Feige on the other end is like, oh, we're about to get another Batista, 2 Batistas. Yeah. And
we're going to get a Batista or a John Cena out of this one. And it's like, no, you're not.
You're not going to get anything because we're going to cut them. And then, as Hey It's Me and HD pointed out, apparently Giancarlo and both him and Red Hulk, like 5 minutes of screen time for each of them, like respectively.
Son of a bitch.
Like nothing. This movie does like nothing happens in this movie. The overarching villain, in case you guys haven't seen all this stuff, is the leader. It's Tim Roth from the or not Tim Roth. What's his name? Maybe it is Tim Roth. I don't even remember anymore. Let me look it up. It is, Tim Blake Nelson. That's who it is. Tim Blake Nelson. So he reprises his role from Incredible Hulk, and he's the leader. And he doesn't even look like the leader. They kind of just gave him like a little bit of a lumpy head. I don't like it. This entire movie, everything that comes out, it just feels like, I think Sider said it best after I showed him the post-credit scene. He was like, this is just a Disney Plus ending stinger, like a series lead off. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know,
could have been at the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you would have never known.
Exactly. So for those of you who don't know, the end credit scene for this movie is after beating the leader and sending him to the raft, credits roll, Sam visits him in the raft, and he kind of, they don't really say why he's there. He kind of just like walks into the raft, and
it's like a
the
victory lap.
Yeah, but it's also like, why would he be? I get that it's a victory lap, but would a Captain America be doing that? I don't know. Weird. But he goes in, he takes his little victory lap, and the leader starts going like, oh, you beat me, but are you really strong enough to beat them? And Sam's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, that's the thing. You and I both love this planet, but they don't, and they're all coming. Can you stop them? And then it ends. It's literally just a multiverse like tease, but we already knew that existed. Like, I couldn't believe I said these words to my friend yesterday. I showed it to him and I was like, the Marvels had a better post-credit scene. The stupid one where Monica wakes up in like the alternate universe with her mom and Beast. Like, that set up the multiverse in a way that was sort of like, it did give you not as much anymore because it was on a film that nobody watched and we're all kind of over it. But like that reveal of Kelsey Grammer and then the reveal of what's Lashana Lynch as actual like Captain Marvel, that was a little bit of that old school Marvel, like, oh, wow, there's a tease, there's a character, like those are people we know, we're going to see them soon. And it did set up a little element of like what could come next. Like, oh, Monica's now in the multiverse. This was literally just like, multiverse exists, boom. Like, I don't remember the last time.
We know.
Yeah, we know it. I can't remember the last time I was this disappointed by like a Marvel post-credit scene since one of them ended with a tease of like a show. Oh, it was.
Let's be honest here. Can we be honest for a second?
Yeah,
maybe I don't know. Maybe it's been a while. Can you honestly remember the last post-credit scene that you actually were excited for? That they actually got like, oh, I can't wait for the next one. What was the last like post-credit scene that you can remember? For me,
I'm not even trying to be funny.
The first one, the Nick Fury one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was it. Everyone after that, it was completely ruined. It was just you. There was no magic to it anymore. It was just another scene in the movie.
The last one
right, yeah.
that I actually had any kind of reaction to was from the Winter Soldier when they showed Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver at the end of the film. That was the last one that I could think of. I was like, oh, okay, I want to see where this one goes now.
And that's funny because mine is actually right around there too, and it's the one from Ant-Man where it shows Sam and Bucky have, or Sam and Cap have Bucky's like arm in a press and they've got him captured and he's like struggling because he's like brainwashed. And Cap's like, I don't know what like we're gonna do. And then Sam like looks at the camera and he's like, I know a guy. Because I was like, oh yeah, Ant-Man. Like Ant-Man's gonna get in the Avengers, like for sure, confirmed. Yes, let's go. And yeah, after at that point, like Cider said, they were just normal movie scenes now. And now they just feel like they feel desperate, but they also feel like just weird marketing. Because that's what I was saying is I believe it was Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania or whatever one came before that, where the post-credit scene was literally just a scene from Loki season 2. And I was like just cut from the show. And I'm like, all right, like this is, we have lost the plot of like, yeah, exactly.
It was around the time when they used AI to make the opening. And I work with AI every single day, mind you. Okay. So I could spot it pretty easily.
And not just on this, I wouldn't professionally, like Cider knows what he's talking about when it comes to this stuff.
Even I wouldn't do that. Like even I wouldn't do that. Like if Disney was like, hey, can you use AI to make an intro? I'd be like, no. I can make you an intro for a live stream, certainly, but not for a feature program
yeah.
movie. That's not at all the caliber of where we're at, Chief. We're way off from that one. But here we are, you know.
It's funny you bring up that intro because I actually read that this is the first Marvel movie since they started doing the like the roll-in with all the pictures and stuff and they make the Marvel logo. This is the first one that doesn't do it. And I don't know why, but like that can't be a good sign in general.
What they're doing is they're trying to break it. They're trying to break it from that.
I genuinely, that's where I was going to go with it. Yeah.
Because they can't reboot it. What they're going to do with this whole situation with Doom is that I was wrong that it's going to be a reboot. Because when they entered Chris Hemsworth in as Nomad, this is going to be the real Nomad Cap. This is going to be the one that officially is like, fuck you, America. So he's the real Nomad Cap that's going to show up here. And obviously it's going to be a dig at the current administration. There's no way around that. But the situation that he introduced was that they're going to do what DC couldn't accomplish by making these one issue, like not one if series, but they're going to go fishing. So they're going to put out these movies like, do you like Captain America if he's Asian? Nope, you don't. Do you like Captain America if he's a British woman who's 7 feet tall after going through the same experiment that made Steve Rogers into this hulking mass of American might? Kind of. Okay, so we'll kind of run with Captain Carter. Okay, you don't like it anymore. Sorry, putting it back, throwing it back, sorry. Okay, so they do that, and then so that's what they do. Is they try the giant robot thing. But this is what they're going to do, is that the whole point of Avengers Doomsday or whatever this is, the final entry, is to break our sense of continuity. That's the whole point of this, is to break our sense. They can show you a Fantastic Four movie and have you not think that it's attached to this movie that just came out, this Captain America Brave New World. They want you to see Marvel movies as independent of each other because they realize there's absolutely no way they're going to take drama queen directors, drama queen writers, drama queen producers, and expect them all to hold to a 10-year timeline ever again.
Ever again. Because no, I mean, you're completely right. Like this is the era where, you know, back in the day, they had it might not have been like completely solid, but they knew like we're gonna build to this. This is where we're going. In after Infinity War, as we all know, like it's like Cider said, they've just been going, you like this? Do you like this? How about this? Is this gonna hit? Oh, you liked this one thing, so we're gonna like roll that into everything. Like we're gonna put, you know, like a lot of us don't like Kamala Khan as a character, but I think at least 99% of us can agree that Iman Vellani is like an adorable like ray of sunlight. Marvel saw that and they went, put her in everything. We'll get way more like clout back, like reputation. And I say that she didn't appear in a lot more stuff, but I noticed for a little bit up until kind of this movie, anytime there was a Marvel comic or a Marvel movie, Iman Vellani would be like giving us a comment on it. And I'm like, I like you, but what do you have to comment on with like Blood Hunt in the Marvel comics? I don't understand this. So yeah,
you also notice that they haven't booked her in a single film since the Marvels. Like,
they haven't. Well,
yeah.
I want to say that's bad, but I also enjoy that because like I really don't want Hollywood to get there.
Yeah. It's one of the things where it's like, well, at least her soul won't be corrupted like Lady
Right,
Gaga,
exactly.
so
Like we can at least put it off for now.
So Ion Face asks, let's have a Marvel versus DC trilogy. Now, that might be closer than you think. DC's not doing too hot. Marvel's not doing too hot. Marvel has a good shot at just buying DC outright, or at least basically buying licenses to effectively own DC's characters. So you might see Superman and Captain America, black, white, or Asian, perhaps trans Captain America, 69ing on the moon someday.
Oh, God.
So, you know, look forward to that.
I don't know. I know it would be absurd and it would suck, and I would obviously rail against it if it actually got made.
Suck.
The concept of trans Captain America's making out on the moon or whatever you just said is so absurd that I would probably at least like buy one ticket to see what you were going to show.
It's worth the meme, you know. It's worth the meme.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. But that's what it is that like this is what they're going to do going forward, is that they're just going to show you a thing, and when you don't like it, they won't make any more of it, and they won't be held accountable about that. You won't feel bad that you're not going to get a continuation of Kang. That's what they learned with the Majors thing. They learned a very powerful lesson about continuity. The continuity can be broken if one cog falls out of alignment. They didn't have that happen in the 10 years. That never happened to them.
That's also like a self-inflicted gunshot wound, because you're not wrong. Like I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I agree with you. The thing is too, though, like they could have avoided all of this where we are now with this weird shuffling, with this weird, please come back, it's RDJ's doom, please, if they'd have just decided like we can recast characters, right? I know it started with Chadwick Boseman, which was even more absurd because his family was like, recast the damn character. It like, you need to do that if you really want to honor him.
They had M'Baku right there. They could have told their own story with M'Baku.
They were like, nope, we're not going to do that. Then they didn't, then Kang goes out and they go, all right. And like, you could have recast Kang way easier, right? Like, yes, Majors was in that Loki season and this, but he wasn't as prominent of like a cultural icon as Chadwick was as Black Panther. And two, he literally is a character who is based on variants. Like, you literally had the easiest out in the freaking world for this, and you still somehow managed to bungle it. Like, the worst writer in the world could have done something with this, right? Like, I can't believe it. Just say, oh yeah, I'm Kang. That other one was a failed Kang. I'm here now. Let's rumble. But instead they had to upend everything. And that's why we are in this really dire state where not only is everything sort of, Cider's stick, like throw it at the wall and stick, is being amped up to 11. Because now, guys, they're going back for like Eternals and Incredible Hulk nostalgia. That is a desperate swing if I've ever seen one. And there's also the fact, right, Nerdigans? And then there's also the fact that, like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but they announced today that filming will start on the first one or whatever. I guess Secret War, whatever it is. The first one filming starts summer 2026 ahead of a May 2027 release. That means they're giving this team less than a fucking year to film and post-produce this 3-hour, we need to make our money. This is their last shot to like save the MCU, and they aren't giving them any time to do it. We'll be lucky if we get like an Etch-a-Sketch like storyboard of like, just a YouTube thing like, oh, hi, my name's Anthony Russo. So in this scene, you see you're gonna like Cap's going over here. Like it's bad right now.
It's going to be what James Gunn said. They're just going to film a bunch of scenes, and then the editor is going to be in charge of making something cohesive out of it, you know? And that's what they're going to do, you know?
I mean,
meanwhile,
that's what they've been doing.
Meanwhile, over at Marvel Rivals, well, ta-da, they're celebrating the marriage, the heterosexual marriage of two white people, by the way. Reed Richards, little different fella. Reed Richards and Sue Richards, as of this very moment on screen, are now married, and their modding includes a special sound package in which Here Comes the Bride plays when Sue uses her psionic push to destroy enemies. I don't want to play it here because I don't know if that sounds copyright protected. It would be the Chinese to do that. So then Reed also has a special line of dialogue. I believe that he says, "On my wedding day," as he gets to that really big
dialogues. And then they both have that scene you're seeing right here. This is their win screen. So like when you win the match, if you're the MVP, whether you're Sue or Reed, you will get the scene of them like putting the ring on each other's fingers.
Oh, it's cute.
No, it is really cute.
One of the things I really appreciate about this is that Reed is not an obnoxious piece of shit. They had a chance to Soldier 76 him, to make him like this grouchy asshole science obsessed dickwad. And instead they said, no, he's actually in love with the woman.
Well, here's the thing. They do still present him as that very science oriented, science focused, like that's always on his mind thing. There is for example, if like some characters, if you pick like, you know, Spider-Man and Venom, they'll have like a dialogue that is unique to those characters. And when you're on a team with Reed and Sue, one of the dialogues that can come up, for example, is like, wow, Reed, Reed goes like, see, Susan, aren't you like, this is what you were asking for. We finally get to get away, you know, a different location.
Oh, we have time together.
And she goes like, yeah, but this isn't really what I meant. You know that, right, honey?
Right.
And he goes like, oh, I get what you mean. And so like, that's still there. But what the difference is that in recent years, you've seen a curve away from Reed Richards essentially being like an autistic sort of guy who maybe doesn't get social cues, but is still, you know, good at heart, you know, Illuminati stuff aside. You've got, now the more prevalent interpretation of him, at least before they came back after Secret Wars, was Reed's like an abusive, like, I'm doing my work, whatever, get out of my face. And that unfortunately has become the Reed of the characters, no pun intended, that a lot of people have like leapt onto. But it's not like an accurate one. It's very much a reactionary one. So what you're seeing here is like the actual Fantastic Four.
Well, they don't like the fact that one of Reed Richards' biggest attributes is that he's literally the smartest man in the entire Marvel universe, and they have created a multitude of characters over the course of the last 10, 15 years.
Doesn't matter. We got Ironheart. She beats him every day.
Exactly. I mean, we just keep creating new characters in the last 10, 15 years. Be like, see, Reed Richards isn't the smartest one anymore. Here comes insert black girl number 4, because there's like 6 of them now who are just equally
but what's
smart.
always so awesome with that is we do have that. We've seen that a bunch of times. We have Ironheart, we have Moon Girl, all that stuff. But that's always like, you can tell when that character is like from an activist sort of writer or a younger writer, because they write a character like that. The best part is there's always this big push to, Moon Girl, say she's the smartest one. Eventually, Marvel has to do a big crossover, because that's what comic book publishers do. They'll put on like a veteran writer who actually has like, you know, been in the industry for a while, and
Who
inevitably
knows what they're doing.
Inevitably they will always go like, oh yeah, we need to go get Reed Richards for this. Like, we need to go talk to the actual smartest man. And they'll always make an excuse where it's like, the tests are always shifting or whatever. And I'm just like, no, you can't sell that. Like, it's just, it's kind of like, the recent Spider-Man comics tried to sell this idea that, oh, look, Norman Osborn is a good guy. Like, he's actually purged of all the goblinness. And it's like, nobody, literally nobody is going to buy that. Like, nobody buys this because you guys, like, it just doesn't happen. And you guys, I don't know. It's
well,
so
who wants a Norman Osborn without the Goblin? That's just, what was he?
It'd be like if Doomsday just showed up. It'd be like, no, guys, I changed this time for reals.
I just look. Hey, anybody want to play Uno? Okay, Uno for the world. All right, we'll play Uno to settle this.
I think
chill,
I think
bro.
you
Chill.
and I might have talked about it, Cider, like just between us. But my big worry for this first step movie that's coming out, like to link it back to the MCU, is that they are going to try to and roll with that interpretation of Reed as sort of this giant asshole, like, you know, publicly I'm Mr. Fantastic, and then in private, I'm Grr, because one, there were a lot of like casting rumors that said a lot of male actors had been offered the role of Reed, but they said no because that, like, they were like, this is an awful character, like that doesn't seem fun, that doesn't, like, ew, like that seems genuinely icky to me to like play a character that uncharacteristically mean. And then and this is where I think you put it in my head, Cider, but we get a lot of the shots of them in like the Baxter building, in the really set up, you know, kitchen and all that stuff. And I fear that this is some sort of, you know, Reed is keeping them locked in, sort of like they did with Wanda in like Infinity War, right? Like, you have powers, you're dangerous, but we're going to keep you inside. And then he's doing that against their, I don't know. I'm so worried about that movie because I don't have any hope in Marvel, but there's also no setup here. Yeah.
If I'm honest with you, Marvel would not have approved this interpretation of Reed if the movie was going to divert from this. Here's the thing that I've learned watching how Marvel Rivals has influenced the fan base of Marvel MCU. They want to see Marvel Rivals come through. They want that in the movies now. They want those characters. And Fantastic Four arriving in Marvel Rivals lit everybody on fire. You remember that? That was talked about for weeks out their costume design, especially Sue. And so what you're going to see is you're going to see the Fantastic Four movie stumble through that. But what they've done, in my opinion, is they've created a plastic Reed. And they're not going to characterize him until the last half hour of the movie. And that's when he's not the villain. That's when he's not the bad guy. What you're going to get is Pedro Pascal surrendering to Sue's desire to be with him. And that'll be the big takeaway, is that Reed has been the one that's like, I have to save all of everybody. I'm responsible. Remember, you see him in the trailer and he's trying to figure out where everybody belongs. He talks about like, you know, I'm trying to, and that's been his big crux. So he's presented as being distant and he's like dismissive of Sue. But this whole time, we, the audience, are seeing him toiling away on like, how do I fix Ben? How do I make sure that Johnny's not lighting on fire in the middle of a date and potentially hurting his date? You know, and he's very concerned about this, and he's taking it on like, this is my penance, my sin. So he's turned them into superheroes, like you were talking last week with me about this. He's turned them into superheroes to try and give them like, you're not freaks. Ben, I know you're a giant rock monster, but guess what? We made an action figure out of you, and half the Midwest wants your autograph. You know, and he's trying to make sure that this, and that's why he wants to take them into the rocket into space. It'll move them into the MCU timeline for them to meet up with Doom in the proper sense. Now, that's why in the last half hour, you're going to have him surrender to Sue's love. And that's what the whole corner of is. She's going to be stuck up because he's not loving her. The typical, you know, wife's not getting enough dick. You know what I mean? It's going to be that typical attitude. And because they're very afraid. They're very afraid for this movie. Fantastic Four means jack shit to people under 30. All right. They don't care, you know, but the people that are like 30
at this point.
Well, no, because Leslie pointed out that 05 movie was a pretty big deal. I missed it here. Yeah, right here. That 05 movie was a pretty big deal. I call them Burger King superhero movies because, like, for whatever reason, when you're watching those early Marvel movies, those early superhero DC movies that came out, it just has the color palette of a Burger King commercial.
I like that more. I like those ones more than what we get nowadays, where it's just
yeah. And so that, you know, so that's just, they're Burger King superhero movies. And so they really haven't had anybody care about this franchise since then. So they want to reintroduce Reed as a positive character to begin with. It's the master that we're going to see in Doomsday.
I
because they've
hope.
got to introduce.
Hey, I just want to see that.
I'm
That's my
still
favorite villain, but-
convinced we're gonna see White Black Panther show up, and he's gonna get aced by one of like the Maestro or the Master or one of those guys that is meant to be like the uber duper villain, and that'll be
Right.
their gateway into pretending to be a
Look.
good guy. Is they'll kill White Black Panther.
If Disney does not have a scene in Secret Wars where it's like it's Black Panther, he takes off his helmet and it's Ryan Gosling and everyone's staring at him, he just goes, "What?" If they don't have a scene like that in the film, they have no idea.
Wakanda's in South Africa.
No, he takes it off. He's like, "What? You've never met a man from Wakanda before?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and but he has to say it in the African accent.
What? You never meet a man from Wakanda? See,
oh wow,
I like that.
Wow,
interpretation.
Ryan Gosling doing Chadwick Boseman's accent. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
Ryan Gosling
Oh,
doing
no.
Chadwick Boseman doing African. Yes. So
oh, it
I
would be
like
great
that
too. But
Huh.
just a second, it would be great
Yeah,
too
yeah.
if like T'Challa's the actor that played T'Challa's father, like Chadwick Boseman's father, comes over, puts an arm around him. He's like, "What? Have you not met my son?"
No,
and it's
he's
like,
like,
so it's
Oh my
completely.
god!
No,
I just
recognize
made
my
it
son
worse.
in any universe.
I just made it worse. Can you imagine Margot Robbie playing the Queen of Wakanda?
Yeah, great,
Oh,
great.
God.
You know, and it's yeah, that's great, and it would be hilarious. But I guarantee you, there's going to be a scene where that character gets aced in Doomsday. There's no way
Mhm.
those writers let that meme go after all these years. This is their one opportunity. They get to kill that meme and get that catharsis of owning the chuds.
Yeah.
So
But there you go.
like I believe there's going to be a very significant amount of chud owning, but here's my only pushback. Like if so, I hear your read of the Fantastic Four, and I would be inclined to believe that if this was like a logical company that actually cared about doing that sort of stuff. My problem is with at least with the like the reasoning behind your point, not your point specifically, is the Marvel Rivals thing, because this movie's been in production forever, and Marvel Rivals has only been a thing for about 3 or 4 months. So
Correct.
like I pointed this out when I wrote about the like Brave New World is giving Marvel Rival players a free skin if you buy a ticket to the movie, and you actually have to like go in and get it scanned. Like you can't just buy the ticket and have them email you the code. You have to get it scanned, then the code goes to you. But like that sort of stuff, it's in Marvel's wheelhouse, but it's also a little bit independent. That's why we get things like in Marvel Rivals, we get our attractive characters. That's why we get more comic accurate stuff. So I if they actually are trying to genuinely make a change, which they could be, but I don't trust them until I see it, and I'm gonna have to see it like 10 times before I actually believe they're doing it. It's Marvel, right? Like there's so much, like we know these interpretations because we know these characters, right? Like you're coming off of a place where you know Sue and Reed. I don't know how familiar any of these people working on this movie are.
Right.
All I know is that like the more worrying part is when they did the like when Marvel or DC release a movie or announce a movie, they'll typically go either on social media or on their website like, hey, if you're looking to get into Aquaman or Spider-Man, here are some like good starting places. And it's your typical like Hush or Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1 or whatever. When they did Fantastic Four, their recommendations were like the first Fantastic Four comic, the start of, I believe, like Mark Waid and Wiernego's run, the first issue of Brian Hitch and Mark Millar's run, and then the run of Fantastic Four. What is it called? Like A Life Story. That's what it is. And for those of you who don't know that series, Marvel did a series called Spider-Man Life Story, which basically it was like 5 issues, and it started in the 60s, went to the 2010s, and it was this one-off series that basically just followed Spider-Man if he were to age in real time. And it was a pretty good story. It played with a lot of the concepts we know, made them make sense. I really like it. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I'd say go read Spider-Man Life Story. Off of that popularity, they said, oh, let's do a Fantastic Four one. The problem with the Fantastic Four one is that's where they decided, oh, instead of sort of celebrating these characters, this is where we want to subvert and destroy them. So you started having like Sue started going to like feminist rallies, but not just like supporting the cause, coming home and then like yelling at Reed about things. There's a scene where, because Reed is so dedicated to actually trying to stop Galactus, like he knows Galactus is coming, and Sue like basically separates from him, like takes like Franklin and leaves to go live with Namor. And there's a scene where like Franklin's in the car and he's like, when are we going to see Daddy again? And she's like, don't call him Daddy. It's Mr. Richards or whatever. And it's like, that book is a travesty to everything that the Fantastic Four are, you know, and that's what they recommend readers get, how they get to know them. And that worries me even more because nobody knows them. So I want to see a good read. I'll even give Pedro all the credit in the world if he pulls off a good read, but it's Marvel. I don't know at this point.
Well, and like you said, we don't know. But I like, to your point about Marvel Rivals, though, is that what I'm getting at is that people want that representation. So they're not going to tolerate an abusive read that'll backfire on the game. If they kill that character, they put a lot of effort into this character. He's got his own custom skin, his own wedding thing. So if they backfire on him, that's a huge problem. You know?
I don't think they will, because they'll be able to go, oh yeah, like, you know, the Marvel will be able to go, oh no, that's the Marvel Rivals version. This is the MCU one. And then all the dumb, you know, consumers will go, oh yeah, Marvel Rivals appeals to the chuds with all of its skins and comic book accuracy. But if you wanted like a real deep actual introspection of these characters, you got to go for the MCU one. This is real or whatever. And so, yeah, people who like the Fantastic Four aren't going to want to see a, you know, an abusive read. But then again, we also didn't want to see a She-Hulk who was that lame and boring. We didn't want to see Captain Falcon. We didn't want to see Eternals. And they still said, no, you want this. You really want this.
Well, speaking of really want, go ahead, Nerdigans.
Well, are we going to go over the state of play? Because there's I posted in the chat, I just saw the Pippo monkey in Metal Gear, and I'm just like, what the hell? Because for those of you that don't know, the PlayStation State of Play happened a little earlier today, and there was some good games and there was some questionable things, and then there was some meh things. And we have a Soul Calibur 2 situation here, where in the Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater, for Steam and PlayStation, you get Pippo Monkey, and for Xbox, you get Bomberman.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's actually not surprising to me, because the original Metal Gear Solid 3 release had a lot of Ape Escape crossover missions. That was one of the big appeals. If you buy like Snake Eater or the other like released version off of that, you can like watch the cutscenes, you can still play the missions. It's one of the best parts, Snake versus Monkey. I don't know where the Bomberman thing came from. That's just one of those weird, like you said, like they got a Soul Calibur situation where they just got a random license, I guess. I think that's cool.
Yeah, the people were like kind of, for the Steam users, they were just so confused. They're like, why is Bomberman not coming to us? They just thought that was
Ape
weird.
Escape is better. Ape Escape is the actual original content you want anyway, right? So like,
yeah.
I don't know. That to me isn't.
It's
really
because you don't deserve it. That's why.
I don't deserve anything, and that's why I'm not complaining.
Well,
like,
we do.
But let's be real. The highlight of the show, though, was Onimusha. That trailer was stunning.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see it back after all these years. My main hope right now, even more than this new game, is I want them to port Onimusha. I believe it was like Demon Warriors or Onimusha Warriors, because that was essentially like a Smash Bros-ish clone. But the reason I really want it is it has Mega Man EXE and Mega Man Zero as like unlockable characters. And back in the day, when I would just go rent that game and play with those two for weekends on end.
Yeah, I think it was Onimusha 2. They were doing the remaster.
Oh no, that is what I'm saying. I hope they do one, or at least a port of Warriors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But just look at.
This is the only time you're going to see this, by the way. It has to get cut out of the show as soon as this is over. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yo.
But like, it's crazy how Capcom is now starting to really go into their IP vault. And I think it's Sega's starting to do it too. It's like everything that people have been asking for, they're doing.
It is a weird bit where we're starting to see like Sega's doing their Jet Set Radio, their Crazy Taxi. Capcom's over here giving us a new why am I blinking? Onimusha. So I actually was having this discussion with viewer of the show. Actually, he might even still be in here. Zero Dozer. I have to give credit to Capcom because I feel like, in the last few months, maybe the last year, they have, they're not great yet. They still are making bad decisions and they still have some wonky practices, but I feel like nature is healing to a certain extent. We're getting announcements like an Onimusha game. We are getting Ai in all of her like sexy glory in Street Fighter 6. So even before like Trump would have retaken office, I think there was a tide changing. And again, I'm not saying everybody needs to immediately go, Capcom, you're the best. But I think, credit where credit is due. And it's like, this is the change we want to see. Keep it up and we'll buy more of your games.
But I would say the one complaint that I saw from the streams was there wasn't a lot of PlayStation exclusives. It was more so third party games that were really bringing out the stuff or bringing out the good content.
Yeah, I watched it too. Very underwhelming. It very much was, here's a bunch of our like partner games. There wasn't really like a show stealer. It very much felt sort of like if we were watching the Game Awards and before they started unveiling like the big trailers during the main show and we were watching sort of like the pre-show and they were doing that. That's what it felt like. Still some good stuff, but overall it was like that. It was 40 minutes of that. Like, that's it. All right, sure. Why not? Well, like I'm glad I'm not one of those people who live in like Europe or Japan and was like, I'm going to get up and watch this because I would have been pissed off.
Well, we did get a new Digimon game.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I would have woken up just for that. I take back everything I said.
So this I'm not going to play the audio, obviously, but this is, it doesn't break too many boundaries, but it does reinforce what we were talking about earlier, where like the new generation doesn't have an IP of their own. It kind of, not that there shouldn't be a new Digimon game, but this is clearly pushed toward like I would say like 8 to 16 market. This is not meant for like the older audience, like totally. Of course, it appeals to us.
These are really hard, to be honest.
I push against that a little bit because this is actually the third entry in like an ongoing Digimon series, which started in like 2019, 18. So people have grown with it. Like there are older fans who are probably going to go for this game. Like this isn't an entry point per se. This is just sort of like just your third game in the series.
Well, and it just, again, like I don't know.
It looks better than a lot of the previous Digimon games.
Sure, I get the Genshin impact feel out of it is what I get. It's a lot of Genshin energy to this. And again, it's not bad. It's a good idea. Genshin's very popular. And that's where I get the idea where this is aimed at, is it feels, it kind of has that Genshin energy to it.
No,
so.
it is not. It's not a gotcha.
That's not how the series plays at all.
No, it's not gotcha. I understand. But I see the
that,
animation style, and it feels very similar to how Genshin is animated.
I think that's just like anime, because like once you play the game, this has no similarities with Genshin. Like it is a turn-based RPG where you assemble your team of monsters by capturing them out there, breeding them, evolving them, digivolving them.
And then you fight the Avengers.
Pretty much. Like it's super complicated. I love these game series. They kind of remind me of the good old days of gaming because they like when they're brought over, they don't give, like Bandai Namco for some reason, I don't know why, doesn't give a lot of money to the localization team for those games. So when they come over, they have a lot of English, like do you want to play fight? No, yes. What? Like what was I supposed to? Yes. Oh, sorry, you lose. Like what was I supposed to do there? So it has
quick
that
time
sort of,
events
like,
and broken English. So
yeah, exactly. It has that like fun little jank to it, which normally would probably annoy me, but these games feel like they are like labors of love from people who actually like Digimon, because the systems get so autistically intricate. So like I'm personally excited for this one, like very much.
But something else that because I was watching David Jaffe's stream for this because I wanted a former PlayStation developer's point of view on this, and I watched the one that was interesting was the WWE one because he was saying that something that was said. No, the reason why I say this is the one that because he was saying that based on what was said during the trailer that it sounds like there's a chance that for this one it might be one of those games where it will be like a DLC expansion kind of thing which is something that we've all wanted for sports games for a long time where they're just not releasing a game every year.
I unfortunately know it won't be, and here's how I know it won't be is because I don't know if you anybody here knows this because this is sports video game related, but 2K also handles the NBA license right now.
Yes.
And a couple years ago, I believe it was like NBA 2K 21 or 22. That game, they sort of introduced this same concept. I forget what it was called, but basically you go play games, and then after a match, you go back to this hub world area where you can go buy shoes or practice or blah, blah, blah. Some of you might have seen this feature because on Twitter, a lot of people were clipping. You literally could go meet, what's his name? Justin from State Farm as like an NPC in the game. And it is really, really, really awkward. And he gives you like 500 EXP. I don't know. It's weird. But they still are making new NBA 2K games. They don't stop. They introduced that big one. They don't stop because they know, as we see with like FIFA, if they release a new one, people are going to buy it. Doesn't matter how many people have the old one. People are going to buy the new one for whatever. I don't understand it, but people will do it. And so like to me, I saw when they were rolling out this WWE trailer, first of all, I started laughing really hard because I just thought about everything that Jacob has told me about wrestling over the past how many years of our friendship, 5, 6, 7 years. And this just seemed like a culmination of it because you had who's the short like
you had Paul Heyman there.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah. So you had Paul Heyman.
I posted the link for the trailer in the
cool.
chat. But yeah, the mode that you're talking about that they're doing for this year is the island. That's the equivalent.
Right, yeah. So like the trailer started out and it was like, oh, here's Paul Heyman. And I was like, might be cool. Hey, at least they're getting like the actual talent, like the actual promoters from WWE to cut like a commercial. And then he starts talking about like, you want to experience the world of WWE? Come to the island, like Nerdigan said. You can spend tokens and you can play with up to 50 players. And I was just like, ooh, this feels bad. Like this feels really bad. This feels like you had to take like a sponsor, like
Jeffrey
like
Epstein, a playable character on this island, is he?
Well, I mean, Paul Heyman is doing the introduction show.
Yeah, he's the final boss. He's who you have to ball up against to save the day. Once you make that final bucket, all the kids like get released.
To me, this is just more of a desperate ploy to get replay value out of WWE games. So let's be honest. Every time a new WWE game comes out, it's the same group of people who buys every other wrestling game because they're all just the same now. But it's like, well, how do we get people so we can get some money off of DLC content and stuff like that? I got an idea. Let's create an island for all the nerds out there. It's like, I will be very, very interested to see the actual community of people who will fully commit to the island, quote unquote, for a significant period of time. Because I feel like this probably isn't going to end very well for them. Like I said,
it's going to be a lot of the people like you always, I don't want to say like pick fights with, but you're always calling out like about ratings and current rosters and everything. Like it's the modern fans. Like this is who it's appealing to. And I don't know, like this just feels bad to look at. Like it feels gross to my soul. Like all of it, like come hang out in our brand island where you can engage with more brands while you hang out with our brand. And
Fortnite Island.
That's what it feels like. It really does feel like Fortnite Island. It doesn't feel like WWE or WWF or WCW because I'm just thinking of like the old like games we played back on like PS2 or N64, and it's just like, yeah, this isn't.
I've been saying it for a while. It's like, instead of just regurgitating a nonsensical WWE game every single year that the same 300,000 people are gonna buy every single year, it's like, even if it's that much, I mean, that might be overshooting.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying, why don't you guys like change it up?
You're doing isn't this Bright? Like, what's his name? Isn't this the
Bray
guy's
Wyatt.
gimmick who died? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
So-
doing like a deal. Dude, I don't know. That feels weird. What the hell?
Well, here's
Isn't
the
this a
thing.
Spirit Halloween advertisement?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Halloween Horror Nights, please.
So
Tyler, please.
yeah, Bray
sorry,
Wyatt
my
did
apologies.
die. I think it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but
a
his
little while
brother, whose name is Bo Dallas, he's decided to continue the
Okay.
Bray gimmick on his end, and
Hmm.
they're not very good. I mean, I don't even think they've been
Yeah.
on television for several months, and it's just like,
Well, I mean,
look,
this is the first time I've heard of them, and I
Yeah.
follow you, and I see clips on my timeline all the time, and
it's
nobody's talking
like
about
this.
that.
I get the guy wants to, keep the legacy of his brother
Yeah.
alive, but at the same time, all the creative stuff about that gimmick came from him. It's
Came
like you
from
can't
him.
do it. You know what I mean, it's just things. But I was like, why don't you guys do like a WWE style like fighting game instead? Like, why don't you do a style of game that's similar to, I don't know, Tekken? Especially since you're kind of working within the
Oh,
same line
yeah.
of the company there. Or remember Def Jam Fight for New York? Remember those games from the PS2 era?
Here's
Why don't
an
you
easy
guys
one.
do some-
Remember how
Here's the-
you know how you and I have been making jokes for like at least
Mm-hmm.
a year now about like we want a new Def Jam, but you can't do it. Like that
Yeah.
joke keeps getting worse every week because like,
Super
hey,
easy.
you guys see Kanye over the weekend?
Yeah, exactly.
Super
right.
easy. Okay, go to the island. Guess what the island is? It's a nexus for other fighting games. WWE versus Tekken. WWE versus Marvel versus Capcom. WWE versus Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
Right, you can
Mugen
right?
Island.
Right, exactly. And you don't get all the characters. So you get like
Yeah.
King and Jin Kazama and a couple other ones that you get to fight out of Tekken. Then you get Ryu and Ken and Braga out of Braga.
And then, of
or
course, because it's a
Barack
Mugen
Obama.
game, you have to get like a very
fan of electric
horrible
powers.
2D rendering of Shaggy as well, because that's the standard for every fighting game that exists in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
It's like a
No,
banana
like-
for reference. Yeah.
So like one of the problems that I've noticed with these games, and so in recent years, these WWE games, and this is probably why they kind of feel so off and like weird to me, is like in recent years, these games have started doing the create a character mode. Like that was like the sort of gimmick. You make your own wrestler,
Yes.
you go on their career, whatever, blah, blah, blah. The
You can
problem
make him
is-
into horrible monsters.
Well, no, that's kind of what I'm getting at is like the way these quests progress. Like if you go watch gameplay, is like you go, okay, next fight or whatever, and then somebody, let's say like John Cena or Undertaker, will come up and start like trash talking you, like, oh, you think you're like the new kid on the block? I'll show you what's going down. But because it has to revolve around like this specific create a character, and it has to be all these different things, they can't really get into these like deep, intricate, fun plot lines, right? Where
Yeah.
you slept with them or you pooped in my whatever. Like it has to just be basically all the
I
plots
hate
are
pooped
you
in
think
my
you're the
whatever.
best, you think Vince is gonna like
Mm-hmm.
you. Let's see. if
I'm
you've
a
got, like,
fighting champion.
Right, exactly. And like and then going back to like what Nerdigan said, I think the reason all those old games worked so well is because those story modes, they emulated like the attitude era, right? So you would have like those ridiculous like the wrestlers slapping each other or throwing a really bad polygon motorcycle at each other, and that was like kind of what we all wanted. That really helped sell it. When you do the realistic, you're in this experience, wrestling is totally real. It's sort of like, we know it's not though, and that's part of the fun. So it just feels like they're trying to be something they're not, and it's not working out for them. It's like that weird kid in seventh grade who one day decided to wear his like dad's like button-up shirt and tie because he thought it would make him look like an adult, but he looks like he just
like a
got hit by a
Mormon.
shrink ray. Yeah.
But yeah, what I wanted to point out here with this is that I don't know if you guys watched the Game Grumps or not, but they did a WWF.
Not since like John left.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Wow. So they did a playthrough of one of these WWF games here, WW games, and they created a character who is a giant purple man, like he is like the Big Show size, and he's just purple and greased up. Then they created a tiny red man, and they made them fight. And they fought, and it was just a purple man heaving the red man around, just tossing him around, no effort at all. And it, like after a 5-minute fight, it timed out and it said draw. Meanwhile, they're voice acting like Dan's playing the little red guy, so he's going, you know, he's like dying, you know, like his ribcage has been crushed and stuff. And draw, you know, and that. You're right that they have to tell a certain story, so a character can't be murdered in the ring.
I know, and that's like what bums me out because. That would be.
They should have an Assassin's Creed WWF. That's what Ubisoft should be working on.
Why would they do that when you can just pick Yasuke and win every fight? Yasuke is 9,000 times bigger than them all and can just shoulder rush them into death.
He can run through buildings. Ezio doesn't stand a chance. He just baseball his head off.
Ezio like comes up behind Yasuke like to like stab him, and then Yasuke just like, what's that noise? Like shoulder turn, and then Ezio just flies off into the distance, Team Rocket style.
Like Ultra Instinct Shaggy, you know?
Yeah.
God, yeah.
But that's where we're at. Is like we've come up with 4 different video games that are vastly superior to Fortnite, WW, whatever we're at now. WW Netflix is where we're at this point.
It just like I know I've been using this term a lot, and I implore and actually ask everybody out there to help me like come up with like a less gay or stupid way to say it, but like these kind of games do make me feel like gross on the inside because it's like that's not a video game. This is literally just you. It's playable advertising, I guess. Like I guess everything is, but even more so because like if you guys saw in the trailer, all those stores that are around the island, right? It's not original places. It's not like the Rock's haberdashery or whatever. It's like go to the Air Jordan store, go to the Adidas store, spend your money to buy. Adidas.
You guys know Nike, right? You guys like Nike.
Right.
Let's put a Nike store in there. You guys been to Spencer's? You guys try to Hot Topic, right?
Which is like we always call out member berries for like pop culture stuff, but this is member berries for brands, I guess, and that makes me feel just like gross, like as a person. I don't know.
It's like Fortnite does that crap, and I don't like Fortnite anyway. But like
it does. Here's the difference though. Like Fortnite, the game itself is like, oh, do you want these skins? Like we're doing a collab thing. Cool. You can pick it if you want Nerdigans, right? Like if you want to get the Loki season 1 skin, you can, or you don't have to. Here, it's like everything is shoved in your face as like actual brand Adidas. It would be more accurate if like we were playing Fortnite and instead of picking up, let's say like a med kit to heal, it was like med kit provided by, you know, US Blue Cross or something. It's like, what? That's weird. Like, take me out of my experience. And at least I will always give this to Fortnite. All of those models always look, or not always, but like 99.9% of the time, they're amazing. Anybody who gets put in Fortnite is like
they have really great butts.
They do. That's why I play as the Phoenix all day. But like legitimately, any character who gets put in Fortnite, they're treated better in that game than they are in anything they've been in for years.
Even Thanos, really.
Even Thanos, the Star Wars guys. Like
that was an early one. That was a really early one when they brought Thanos through, and that one didn't suck. It was funny to see Thanos do the Fortnite dance. I'm not going to lie. It was funny to see Thanos in the Fortnite.
Favorite things. I know it's like 12 years out of date, but anytime I see Thanos hitting the gritty, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But the thing that we're at right now is that Jacob brought this art to our attention a few days ago. Blake Lively has ended her career.
Oh man. We got to talk
she's good. I don't think even like the Amber Heard, change my name, move to another country, give birth to a child is going to help. Like she's going to have to volunteer for Elon's first like pioneer plan for Mars to get away from this.
Yeah, like the only
thing that's working against Blake Lively is that at least at some point women were on Amber Heard's side. She doesn't even have the women on her side on this one. It's like it hasn't even gotten to that part.
Like, so I don't really know this, or sorry, I was just going to preface, like, I don't really know this one. Obviously, we've been giving it to Jacob because he's got the pulse on it. So I'm going to turn it over to him, but also go ahead, Cider. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's Jacob. I don't know jack shit about this. It's blonde lady.
Long story short, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni have been beefing for a while now. It kind of died down after the movie came out. The movie was actually a financial success, even though it was a very bad movie, but clearly these two aren't going to get along to being any kind of sequel being released. Then right before Christmas, Blake Lively comes out and she's like, "Oh, Justin Baldoni sexually harassed me. He did all these horrible things to me behind closed doors." And Justin ended up losing his talent agency as a result. All his friends abandoned him, lost all of his future projects, and basically got Me Too'd out of Hollywood on an allegation that she wrote via the New York Times. So she used her connections to the New York Times to destroy his career.
That's literally what Amber Heard did.
I have a
Exactly.
question.
What?
How do you do a sequel to a movie about domestic violence?
Have you seen?
It ends with us. It happened again.
Well,
you know,
you mean like every other relationship that involves domestic
that's what I was
violence?
gonna
She
say.
comes
In
back.
the first movie, he only hits his wife. In the second, then he starts his kids. Third movie, you got to close it out big. Everybody in the neighborhood.
he's hitting the
fight.
dogs in the third one. Yeah, close it out
Part
big. He's
two.
hitting the dogs.
He said he changed this time. I swear.
Yeah, he said he changed.
Well, no, Insider, he changed. He becomes a woman, and then.
Oh yeah, that's how he gets out of the domestic violence charge. I'm a woman.
That's how number 3 can happen. Yeah, exactly.
I was just wondering. It's like what kind of a sequel, Disney sequel, are we talking about here with a movie about a domestic violence?
Part 3. Part 3. I said no mayo, bitch.
The end.
You could have it one of two ways with this. You could have, especially with the Disney movie, you could have him become a furry, or you could have him become a woman, or you could have him beat both.
No.
Why not all 3? Let's go for the trifecta. Like now I'm imagining like the end of the first movie, post-credit scene. It's just like the kid is playing in the living room, and then all of a sudden it's like a far shot, and he goes, "What's up, Daddy?" And his hand just like unfurls in the shadow, and then poof.
Like
So
something
Jacob-
out of Five Nights at Freddy's.
So Jacob,
You tell me.
what's-
I've never played one of those.
we can't play this clip because it obviously belongs to Forbes or whoever's hosting this event, and I don't really feel like getting struck into oblivion. So what goes on in this clip that foils her so badly?
So basically, she's talking about how she likes representing herself to the point that she likes to take over the films that she's involved with. And the big allegation that Justin has been labeling since this whole thing started is that she basically tried to take over my movie because he was the director of this film. She was only the star and the producer of the movie, but he had all the creative pool. She tried to use her star power with herself and obviously her husband, Ryan Reynolds, to go over his head to essentially release her own cut of the movie that was not the cut that he actually wanted out there. And that was really what led into like this whole beef that was going on in the first place, and why they didn't like each other, because Justin felt like she was completely overstepping her bounds as the star of the movie, trying to use her star power to upsert the director, which is a big no-no in Hollywood. And then here's an interview obviously before all this took place, where Blake basically describes everything that Justin said about her, even of course before the big allegations even came out in the first place. So now everyone is resurfacing all of these videos about Blake Lively and the things that she said and kind of her nature. She's not a very nice person. She's kind of a see you next Tuesday in a lot of aspects in her life, and a lot of people are just completely turning against her now. There's like, outside of her friends in Hollywood, there's no one who really truly believes her side of the story at this point, because Justin, you can say a lot of things about Justin, male feminist, maybe he's a little bit of a simp, but I mean, he's seemingly a nice guy from what everyone says, and there really hasn't been any glaring red flags about anything that he's done, particularly in this whole situation. And everything that she has alleged against him, he's been able to show receipts showing that that's not what happened. Here's the video footage that took place on set. Here's the text messages that I actually sent her. Here's her text messages to me. So he's been able to answer every single allegation that she has lobbied against him, and it's not making her look good right now. And to the point where, yeah, she's the one who started this whole thing, because after the movie went out of movie theaters, everyone kind of moved on from this thing. No one even thought about it. She essentially tried to bury him in an attempt to save her public image, because people were turning on her.
Yep.
And as a result of that, she's made this situation exponentially worse on herself. And that's pretty much where we're at now.
Yep, and that's the fate of many of these starlets that fly too close to the sun. Now, if you don't know Blake Lively, that's fine. Neither does YouTube. So when you go in and you do a hashtag down in the YouTube description when you're creating these videos, it'll show you how many other channels and how many other videos are currently out there, not like in the moment, but like I would say over the past 28 days have been put out under that hashtag. So when I put Justin Baldoni's name after that hashtag, it was 6,000 different videos about his hashtag, using his hashtag across 2,000 some odd channels. All right. And that's over the past 28 days. When I put Blake Lively's hashtag in, 0. Nothing. And I copy and pasted
even
her
Amber
name.
Heard had content creator like
Right.
supporters.
Right. I went over and I trimmed that down even. Like I copy and pasted from her IMDb thinking that somehow I was misspelling Blake Lively. Right. I was somehow misspelling that.
You never know. I do it too. I know what you mean.
No,
Exactly. Yeah.
no, not a soul on earth is using her hashtag. Like I understand now why she went after him. Like she made this movie, she was a co-producer, she got her big girl panties on, and then was like, wait a minute, nobody thinks I'm really part of this. They think I'm just some drunk bitch in the back of a taxi complaining to some guy that I got daddy issues. You know, it's just around and around. So that's why she went after him. Is he's got just so much more star power than her, and that's just enough, you know.
So now the latest poll here is that she wants essentially his phone records to find some kind of evidence that she thinks that is on his phone that he tried to sabotage her career. So she's flailing now. This is what we call flailing, because like I said,
Show me
she
your
knows
phone.
that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some text messages in there that you sent that tried to ruin my career. So everything that she's alleging that he did against her, she's unironically done against him. And now people have found out about it, and it's getting harder and harder for her to save face. And this is where we're at right now.
Well, and speaking of where we're at, Sakura Mita made some memes for us and requested earlier today that we take a look at them. So we have this is the first batch of them. We have Power Ranger fans are sick of Mighty Morphin and lost all hope after mistaking abandoned tokusatsu ideas and practices in favor of MCU, and MCU was a good idea. They're very sad. On the bright side, people are happy. It's Pretty Cure fans hope one day the themes are worthy of the ideas and practices of Futari wa Pretty Cure. And then we have pretty
curious. For those of you who don't know, is basically girl toku, but it's anime.
It's really good.
I love it. But that's the best. That's the quickest way to describe it.
Oh yeah, and the thing is that's great about Pretty Cure is Pretty Cure with every season it progresses, and like it gets more creative and more interesting.
It's literally like Sentai. Like they keep giving new ideas that keep building. All of it is in sort of a straight continuity. I know Sentai's a little different because they're all in different dimensions.
Well,
but
and then remember the creator said they were inspired by Sentai and they wanted to do like Sentai for girls.
Well, if you in Japan, there's the block that Kamen Rider and Super Sentai air on. It's called like Superhero Time on TV Asahi, and the other show included in that lineup is Precure. So if you go back for like years and years and years, whenever they do like kind of what I was talking about earlier, the promo spots for their kids hour, like during regular broadcasts, it's like you can see like Kamen Rider Kiva like fist bumping whoever the Precure was at the time, and it's like I'll see you on Saturday. It's pretty fun.
It's smart. And again, like they managed to create a synergy that's not common over here. Not to do the pun. We have
It used to be like back in the 90s and 2000s we used to have.
We were talking about that with King of the Hill and Silver Surfer and these strange crossovers to promote them. But
well, also there was like the Cartoon Network bumpers back in the day where you'd have the crossovers, and then I think even Nickelodeon didn't have it as much as Cartoon Network did.
Well, do you remember there was Cartoon Fridays? And it would be hosted by a different Cartoon Network character almost every Friday. There would be a different host, and they would be custom animated or at least custom arranged for this.
And custom voiced.
And custom voiced for it. And it was absolutely. And there was at one time when Johnny Bravo talked about.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Yep.
And I am still beside myself about that. Like we missed an opportunity, gentlemen. We missed a grand opportunity to
We
reach
really
across the
did.
Pacific and create quite possibly the most powerful character in all of cartoon history by granting Johnny Bravo the ability to join the Z Warriors and obtain Super Saiyan status as an explanation for
He's
his
already got
inexplicably
it. Yeah.
exactly. He's already like Goku's like, wow, you're huge. How'd you get that strong? And Johnny's like, come to think of it, I bumped my toe one day.
Yeah,
And
right. Yeah.
you know,
Mama used to say I was born with a tail, but I just thought she was making fun of me.
yeah, right. We have this. We have this
But yeah,
other meme.
Hold
What's
on,
that?
quick note, just for those of you guys who don't know, what Cider is talking about is one day long ago, back during those Cartoon Fridays, when the like Toonami was like rolling in for that next block of like the later night stuff. When they got through with their schedule for the day, they realized like, oh, we've got like a 15-minute gap of something. Like we don't know how it happened, but I think they showed like a movie earlier in the day, so it threw off everything. So between regular broadcasting and Toonami, there was a 15-minute gap. So they went, what do we do? They got the Johnny Bravo voice actor, and they play the episode at like 2 times speed, and he's just like commenting on it. And it's fantastic, completely in character, completely in the voice. And even if we didn't get Super Saiyan Johnny, I wish we got more of that sort of stuff.
Like he was a narrator for a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Right?
But then
next time on Dragon Ball Z, is Goku going to be able to defeat Frieza?
There was also the stuff for in terms of crossover. There was like the boomerang stuff too, like the bumpers with the toys and stuff like that. And then there was the music videos too. The music videos were just everything. Those are earworms, man. Like
they tried. They tried back when entertainment was aimed at children and not man children.
They had the ones with Courage the Cowardly Dog too, which was really good.
Another rare cartoon that couldn't really find its footing, you know, aimed at kids, really hit home with adults, you know.
I was gonna say, like, as a kid, I didn't like Courage. I was like,
I loved it when I was a kid.
This show is like gross looking, right? Like, again, I was that anime kid, so I'm like, I see anime, that's all shiny and like stylized, and then I look at Courage and it's ew, that's gross.
It is
like,
ew. It really is.
But yeah, now as an adult, I'm like, oh dude, that's fantastic. But as a
I
kid,
resonate with this dog's desire to fight for love. You know, I resonate with this.
The most relatable scene in the world is that one where he tries to make mac and cheese for Muriel, and like when she gets turned into a kid, and he's like, he makes it like, no, too much, and it's like, okay, too little, too hot, too cold. Then he like makes it. I didn't want mac and cheese anyway, and I'm like, that is the most real like dealing with a child thing of all time.
We've got this one here.
Push his face into the mac and cheese.
Yeah, exactly. You eat that.
This meme here is saying that Hasbro's Mighty Morphin merchandise will not be received very well, as we've seen on the internet. And
we're getting another line of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yay. Yay.
So, and this one's celebrating Pretty Cure. So that's there you go.
I wish we got more Pretty Cure. We only got like 1 or 2 of them, and it was under Glitter Force, and it was all weird because it was one of those things, right, Nerdigans? One of those localizations where they went bonkers, and we got what we got. Again, they do that all the time. How is Power Rangers the only one that escaped? Pretty Cure and Kamen Rider got that really bad localization treatment, and they rightfully died because those were bad localizations. But I guess Power Rangers did.
Well,
Ultraman got it too. Apparently, Ultraman got the localization too. For
Gridman.
No, that wasn't Grid. It was Gridman. Yeah, it wasn't Ultraman. They look very similar. They have the same like red, silver
colors and
horn.
Yeah. Now, Nerdigans, you've been the one that's following Red Ranger Becomes an Adventure in Another World, the closest among us, I believe. So
yes, I could, like, after catching up with the manga, and I hate you, Square Enix, for changing the freaking names so much, because I double checked the Japanese wiki to see if I was going crazy or not. And yeah, the fan translation was, and also I'm comparing it to the anime as well, for one of them. Yahidra is correct, but like for the hero, it's supposed to be Rosie, which really pisses me off that freaking Square Enix changed it. And in the Square Enix localization for the Egyptian Sentai that you're going to see, they have a men instead of a mun, which fucking drives me up the wall because it's like, no, that's not the, it's the wrong god. But like after catching up with it and like starting to cover it again, I'm glad I covered it at the right time too. Oh my god, it's so good. I can't go back. I can't with the bad CGI. I just can't do it. It's unfair. It really is. Because if you read the manga, you will understand that art is just on another level, and it just sucks that it's not getting the same treatment that, say, like the 100 Girlfriends is, where it looks exactly like the manga, and in some cases, it looks better than the manga, where it has like more effects. It has like not just that, it adds stuff to the manga in terms of that the manga doesn't have, in terms of like visual exposition, additional content to give it more context. That's what I want Red Ranger Isekai to
Wait,
have.
you want them to change things?
No, in terms of I want them to like add more. When I say change things, I mean like if you're adding content to add more context to something that's not in the manga.
I don't know about that.
It depends.
I don't know. I'm sort of the intention purist, so like I don't want I don't want you adding things like that. Again, there's things where like you have to communicate ideas in film or in motion over drawing, but like adding other things, it's sort of like, why wasn't this in there? I don't know. That doesn't sit right with me.
They did.
And it just is weird to me because I'm like, I didn't know you would be in favor of that. So I was just like taken aback.
It just depends on, it's a case by case basis. Like in Red Ranger Isekai, they added like additional Sentai fights. That I kind of had a problem with, because it's like that's kind of like the whole mystery aspect of it. Kind of takes away the mystery. But I understand why they did it, because they wanted to, showcase more Sentai content. So I kind of understand to an extent. Like in the beginning, I don't mind it. That I think is kind of cool. I like seeing how Red got Isekai to the battle and all that leading up to it. Adding that content, fine. Showing a little, but like you can't show so much extra content to where it kind of takes away from, the canon, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
so, I can understand it, but
yeah, because you've read the manga for Red Ranger Isekai, and like when they're talking, when they show like at the very beginning, you just see oh my god, the name escapes me, but you see him just like the Red Ranger, just straight up Isekai. You only see like a little bit of the fight, and then him Isekai. You don't see like more of the fight leading up to it, the confrontation and all that. So
we
like,
do have,
and that's why I don't like adding anything. But Cider, take us away.
I just want to say we do have Jacob having to go here in a couple minutes, and I don't want to.
Well, we've been going for a long time, or especially you guys. So we should just get the heck out of here anyway.
Cider.
Or we don't. Oh, or we do.
So you can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga every day. On my Patreon, which is patreon.com/packergirl, I cover anime. We are covering Dragon Ball Daima in the sub and the dub. And I talked about earlier, the dub is one of the better dubs I've listened to in a while.
Yeah, you've been saying that for like a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, minus like Glorio just is bad. I'm like, after like a couple, listening to the sub like before it, it's like, yeah, Glorio, it's almost there, but like there's just a certain soul that's kind of
so close. Yeah,
and it's the same with Piccolo Mini. It's just the same like passion you get from like from the sub is missing. But like the demons and all that, like, and it's just everything else seems fine. It's just like a couple of characters here.
Yeah,
it's not good. But as I mentioned, I'm covering the 100 Girlfriends as well. If you're not watching it, I strongly recommend it. I strongly recommend reading the manga as well. We are also, you can also follow me on Twitter right here, where I'm causing shenanigans. For Bounding, I am working on the Dragon Ball Daima article. There's also, I'm probably going to send this to you after. I don't know if I'm going to do a separate article on it, but while we were streaming, the information about the one shot for Dragon Ball Super dropped. So yes, Dragon Ball Super manga is back.
Well, yeah, if you want to cover it, that's all you. I had no idea that was in the works. So
yeah, it literally just dropped. I knew it was coming, but the info like officially just dropped, and we got like preview pages and all that too. But yeah, it's coming out on February 20th. I've heard rumors that the from Geekdom 101 that the next official chapter might be coming out in March, but we're not fully sure. This is just a rumor and speculation. So stay tuned for that. I'm almost done with the Dyna stuff. It's just been Kitty has just been bugging the crap out of me lately.
No,
But
don't even trip. We know when it comes from you, it'll be quality.
Yeah,
that's what you're all waiting for.
But anyways, the Kingdom article is done. It's a bittersweet with Kingdom. I'm not happy with Biz choosing to do the Chinese names. That really pisses me off.
Oh, right. I got like, so I was like, what? And then I was like, oh yeah, you've told me that. Never mind.
Yeah, it's very bittersweet. Yay, Kingdom localization, but no, you made it unreadable because of the Chinese names. It's like, why?
And it's like, I get it, but also, yeah, like they did it in the Japanese, or just leave it in that one.
Yeah, there's people that are happy that it's the Chinese names and it should be the Chinese names. I'm like, no, you missed the point.
It's this is a case where I'm like, I could go either way. Like, I get why they went with the Chinese names, because it is all historically Chinese based and it can help like land that more in context. But I like a personal preference is I read it in Japanese, so I'd like to see it there. Either way, Kingdom is here. It's an amazing manga. I would say everybody read it.
Yeah, seriously, go read Kingdom. It's going to be released physically by volume from what it said on the Biz Twitter. Yeah, I'm surprised no omnibuses like right away. There's a lot of Kingdom volumes.
But again, remember, all the talk on social media doesn't always translate to sales. Otherwise, Eternals would have been like the #1 movie in the world, right? So they're probably just like, we'll do like 3 volumes and then we'll see if anybody wants like that. And then we'll get them.
Anyways, but yeah, Jacob will talk a little bit about it in a second. But yeah, I'm going to be doing Pokemon Adventures this Saturday with Jacob, and then Barroom on Tuesday, and then back here on Wednesday.
And Jacob, I meant to give you a chance to skedaddle, so...
Yeah, because I'm trying to get out of here for like 20 minutes now. So let's go. We got coming up Tuesday. No, I'm sorry, not Tuesday. Saturday. We're going to be doing the Pokemon anime recap. It'll be probably somewhere in the afternoon. I'll give you a set time for that one. So that will be our show for there. We do have the next Bible Ends coming out. It's episode 3 of our Satanic Panic series. If you haven't seen the first 2 episodes, go back and watch it. I'm probably ruining a chunk of your music taste from the 60s and 70s. I'm probably going to continue as we go on here. We have the Barroom every week. Go look back. Look at last week's episode. We talked about a lot of interesting things. We talked about real estate to Lady Gaga and the devil, and we also talked a little bit about. That's what I was going
to say. Is like you go to the Bible Lens for the classic like satanic musicians, and then you go to the bar room for the modern day.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, we'll get up to the modern day eventually. Don't worry about it. Then we also have what we talked about last time. We talked about the Carl's Jr. commercial because people were upset that now that hot women in bikinis are modeling burgers now for some weird reason. So that's a thing. Finally have some movies to review. I know you guys haven't seen any of my reviews in a while. That has more to do with the fact that there's literally nothing out. Like Captain America comes out this week, and then that's it. And then with the movies like G20 coming out of here, it's not going to get much better. So I just know that the reason why you haven't seen that many reviews is because there's literally nothing out.
I just like realized like when you do Captain America, if you do a written one, I'm just gonna, when I edit it, I'm just gonna start the article with like a big picture of you and be like, this is me now. Like, let's talk about this movie.
The next one's just going to be a tall like bottle of Jack Daniels. Be like, now let's talk about this film.
Like completely empty. Yeah.
Yeah. So go check us out there. That's what I got coming up for now. So that's it.
All right. And Spencer, where do we find you when this is over?
Yeah, as always, guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It means the world to us that you chose to spend your Wednesday evening hanging out with us, breaking down Weebery, breaking down all the awful things going on with Marvel. We hope to see you again next week, same time, same channel, right here for another episode of 01. Until then, check out the website every day where we've got new news articles going up. As always, as soon as we're done here, I'll be over there cranking out today's run of stuff. check out everybody's content here. Go follow Nerdigans, go follow Jacob, follow our YouTube channel so you can see all of Cider's takes. Again, guys, exclusive reporting here right on the YouTube channel. But aside from that, yeah, boundingintocomics.com. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.
All right, then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you.
Shadows move on the ceiling, quiet steps, they're revealing. The code is cracked, we're in motion. Silence cuts through the commotion. Dark suit, sunglasses tight, we're ghosted, vanish in the night. A team of whispers sharp and sleek. Danger's a game we love to tweak. They'll never know where we've been. Undercover, blending it in. Every look, every clue. They don't know we're watching you. Who's the target tonight? Underneath the pale moonlight. With the shadows in your sight, who's the target tonight? Who's the target tonight? Who's the target tonight? Who underneath the pale moonlight? With the shadows in your sight, who's the target tonight? Who's the target tonight?